I started playing music. Timing. Oh, it just took me a second to figure out what I was doing with this. Because I haven't done this in so long. Here we are. Let me know. I'm gonna turn up a little bit more. Let me know how it is. Hi, Riley. Happy Monday. Tonesy's, congratulations on the sub. Thank you, Riley. Hi, Mike. Welcome in. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Raging. Hi, Connor. Hi, Cheaty. Is that everyone? Ah. Hi, welcome. Hello, Foo. Today's a chatting and hanging out stream. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute. Do I have my caption? Especially because for the past like month, all I've been doing is streaming Rebirth. But today is a break from that. How are you guys doing? I was specifically asked to talk about run breakups today. Put this on. My hair looks like a black void. I don't like that. Captions are a go. Good. As they should. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've done mental health stream. I feel like I used to have like a whole bunch of like things in the chat talking about like what's okay about it and like what's not. I don't know where any of that stuff even is anymore. Hold on. Let me take a look at something. Thing? Can I do this? But I guess vibe check. How is everyone doing? Are we doing okay? Yeah, I thought I had a command, but maybe not. But I have this. So I can just toss that there. Oh, I do have it right here. I don't even have that. Here's that one. Yeah. Whoa. But yeah. I have that as a scroll. We're okay. Yeah. You could move the captions. Can always get home. For sure. Howdy. How's everyone? Trying to hold off on eating dinner already since it's not even 5, but it smells so good. What's it smell like? What? What? That you can move the captions? I'm pretty sure these are the types of captions that are like super customizable. Yeah, you can move them to any part of the screen and you can like adjust like their size and everything. Smells like amazing soup. Fuck yeah, I love soup. Soup is the best. I'm pretty sure you should be able to like super customize it. Are you discovering how much you can customize the captions? Yes. The captions that I have on my stream are like very customizable, y'all. Hi, Shar. But yeah, fun fact. I think a lot of people just turn them off, but yeah, the captions that I use specifically are ones that are meant to be like super friendly. You should be able to move them, change them. I believe they're also friendly for people who are dyslexic. So just customize them to whatever you would prefer. You're discovering this? Don't feel dumb. I think most people don't usually use them anyways. But I like having them there for the small percentage of people who might. So, yeah. Hi, Justin. You were ready to slap the piss out of a coworker this morning, a sentiment shared with many of my coworkers. That's always frustrating. You like them? That's good. So unless you guys have more stuff that we can chat about, I don't know how swiftly I should begin discussing the general topic. Hi, Cecilia. You finished the remake and the DLC? Nice, good stuff. Crack Toner in my Discord. Hi, Noah. Was wanting to have a group discussion. Thank you, Riley, for gifting us into Cecilia. About friend breakups or friends drifting apart. So that is on deck as a prompt. But we can always talk about other things as well. Coworkers, you want to talk about this one guy? There's always one coworker that pisses everyone off. Thank you so much for the Discord invite. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for your first message to be, where's Perth? That's okay. Thanks for hanging. Everyone wants to get to know you more, of course. Going back to work after 3 days off is painful. Felt like it went by way too fast. Ain't that how vacations go? Where is Perth? It's in her box. I'll send you a picture. Okay. As she probably does. Looks like her box is built in. Friend breakups or going through your friendship drifting part is rough. It definitely is, and I feel like, hold on. Sorry, my friend texted. Money stuff, so I have to move on. Beep, beep, beep. Okay. What? I opened my phone for my brain. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna post this in the Discord. And I'm gonna tag person. Okay, there. Okay. Thank you for lurking, Char. I love you always. Thank you. Yes. Friend breakups, going through friendship drifting part is really hard. I also feel like that's something that a lot of people super duper experience, like especially like the older that we get, which makes sense because I think a lot of the friendships that we are conditioned to have early on in life are friendships of convenience because they're usually people from school or other places that we go to where we just see the same people every day, and that's how friendships form, versus having friendships born out of like genuine shared interests. And I think that's one of the biggest, most defining differences between like childhood friendships and adult friendships. So, hello, Elk the Man, welcome in. I've drifted out of a few friendships I had in the past. Yeah, I had a lot of hard, like, I struggled a lot as a kid, like making friends with a lot of people. And then in high school, I had like a good group of people, but into like college and especially growing older, we definitely have grown apart, which was really sad because it was like the closest friend group that I had, but a lot of things have changed, especially like becoming an adult and realizing more of who you are and the kind of person you want to be. Everyone approaches these things differently, and sometimes you just become people who no longer have a place for each other in life, and I feel like that's common and it happens a lot. I try to look at it a lot like the season of that time is just over, you know, like how seasons come and go. Roll it. Thanks always for the lyrics. Thanks always for the lyrics. Drifting out of friendships can be rough sometimes, at least for me. It is definitely hard, especially if like you were really close with someone and like nothing really happened, you just kind of fell out of touch. It's definitely, I mean, easier with like social media to like keep up with people, but like realistically, a lot of friendships these days are gonna be dependent on how much time and energy each individual in the relationship devotes to keeping in touch. The friend breakups have made me choose my friends with such precision these days. I think it's always worth it. Oh, hi, Phil! Welcome in, dude! It's good to see you! It took me a while in my early 20s to realize that me and my friends from high school were drifting apart, and it hit me hard for real because they were the only two friends I had. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Especially I feel like when it's like hard, like making friends is something that I think is also really difficult for like adults everywhere. I feel like everywhere I go and everywhere I see is like everyone's always like, how do you even make friends? How do you go out and do things? This is something me and my best friend talk about. Thankfully, we still keep in touch. Like we both she lived in Wisconsin, and then we met when she came to California for school, and we lived together for like years, and then she moved in with her girlfriend, who's now her wife, and then they just recently moved up to Portland, and now I live all the way in Philadelphia, but we still find ways to like keep in touch, obviously, which is proof that friendships can still endure no matter the distance. But it is definitely really hard because it's like outside of like our regular like pathways. She's like, I don't know how to fucking make friends. I hate people, which I think is a sentiment that a lot of people share, where it's like general populace, no thank you, but like cool friends, yeah. It's just reconciling the two that I think is really tricky. Because there's no because it's like the one place that you go to regularly as an adult is work, and being friends with coworkers is like really not the most ideal, because again, it's like a friendship of convenience. They're people that you see every day, not necessarily because they're people who you have like common interests with. I miss Char. I always miss Char. That happened to me last year, although it was not intentional on my friend's side. They got very sick, so coping with the absence without knowing what was going on was rough for me. And again, just like any friendships, I feel communication is something that's like so important. It's really hard if someone is like out of like commission and can't really communicate. But again, I feel like with social media and things like that, there are ways I think that you can communicate with the people that are important in your life about things that are important. It happens. Friend breakups can be really rough when some people leave your life without notice or explanation. My best friend in 2012 just disappeared from my life from one day to the next. I haven't heard from him in 12 years. When I hear removed as a Facebook friend, I still have no idea why. That's crazy to me. I feel like stuff like that is like especially cruel. I feel like it's this sort of like juvenile thinking that like when I was like younger, there was like one friend breakup that I did that was really fucking mean. It was probably one of the meanest things I'd ever done to someone who's a friend. But even then, I feel like I still dignified her with like, I'm not being friends with you anymore because I feel like you mistreat me and these are all the things that you do. I feel like not giving someone an explanation or not giving them that like closure to like reflect on what happened and what caused you to make that decision is like crazy. And the thing is that you don't even know if it's like them that did it, especially if you're younger. It's like maybe it's like their parents, like someone was like overprotective or something and like deleted all these things. Like you never know. Good friends, time and distance doesn't matter. Yes, I think it's just a matter of like finding those good friends too. I feel like it gets more difficult too as time goes on to make friends. Yeah, there's a lot of that too, because there's a lot of people will find like their established group of friends and don't really like go beyond that as well, and that's really tricky. And for friend breakups, I've been on two different sides of it. One, you wind up sticking with one friend more inside with them, or two, you still keep friends with both parties. Stuff like that, where it's like where you drift apart over an issue, I think could be really tricky, especially as I personally have come across like really heavy ass topics that rip friend groups apart. And in situations like that, like I'm team no fence sitting, and that is a surefire way to fucking cut your friend groups down immensely. So it gets crazy depending on things that happen as well. I feel two only works if it's a mutual breakup. Yeah. As someone who recently went through what was supposed to be like a mutual breakup, they can also start mutual and someone can get crazy for no reason. It's crazy despite how easy it should be to stay in contact. It's still so easy to fall out of contact. It really is. It's something that I try to be mindful of, but I feel like keeping up with friends is like something that you really have to be like mindful of, like checking in with them, especially because it's like if you're not seeing them every day, it's so easy to get caught up in so many things in life, especially as an adult. Like you're running around, you're working, you have to take care of your space, if you have pets, social engagements and stuff like that. There's so much in your immediate area that you're working on that it really requires effort to like think of people who are outside that. I mean, this is something that especially applies to me with family, because like I don't reach out to my dad very much. I do reach out to my sister because her and I are close, but like it's difficult. And like if you don't maintain your friendships, they'll like kind of die. I feel like really lucky that there are some friendships that I feel like can be frozen in time. Like I have a friend from Portland. I haven't talked to her in probably like 7 years, but I feel like if I ever saw her again, we have the type of friendship where I'm pretty sure we could pick up where we left off and we could catch up. But I feel like those are also really rare. Catch up. Yeah, I learned the hard way the difference between actual friends and coworker friends. Yeah, because there are differences between people who are like genuine friends and again, like friends of convenience. Communication is vital in anything, in any type of relationship. Communication is so important. I tried to reach out to get some understanding of what happened and never heard back. That's nuts that some people won't even dignify that was just like, again, like closure and like a response. I agree with Mike as well. Fun times in distance, so amount of communication is very key. Hi, Sarah! Enjoy your nap! Wait, no, friend sitting? What do you mean friend sitting? My friend is fine now, we keep in touch, but there were housewives for a whole month that could not use mobile or anything for their own safety at the time. But they couldn't like communicate to like someone else, like, hey, could you let like people I care about know what happens to me? Because I feel like it's sort of scary to have those sorts of things happen, because it's like the fragility of life and things like that. It's like very easy, like you can easily become hospitalized, but also you like people can just die. Like you could just disappear off the face of the earth one day. And I think it's really important to have that sort of thing be like communicated. Good nap, agreed, so much in front of you to where you have to really try to stay in touch. Yeah, it requires very like intentional, purposeful effort. And I feel like it's really important to remember that sort of thing, especially if you're drifting apart from like other friends. I don't think I've ever been in a situation that, well, like, because I feel like by the time that you realize that you're drifting apart from friends, sometimes you've drifted apart like too much to really like sit down and have a conversation, because it's like you kind of mutually realize that maybe you aren't prioritizing each other. But I feel like in those situations, it wouldn't hurt to like reach out and be like, hey, I feel like we've been drifting apart and haven't talked so much, and you could try to revitalize it. But it is, again, like, especially adult friendships, there's only so much that you can do. I mean, in any friendship really, as an adult, like, relationships require two people to work. Whether they're romantic or they're platonic, like, both people need to be contributing. It's always going to be a two-way street. The talking end was weird and awkward. I didn't know if it was okay to stay friends. I was worried I'd done something that made their mental health bad. Did you try talking to them about it? I can't do coworker friendships. I haven't seen anyone that cool and trustworthy. Plus, I focus on work too much as well. I feel like a lot of it depends, like, on your working environment as well. Because I know when I worked at H&M, when I worked in retail, there were like some people that I had like okay friendships with, and there was like one other person that I had a really good friendship with. So we would hang out outside of work all the time. But it's also the sort of thing where it's like I can only be friends with people who I think are who I can tolerate at work. I'm not gonna like you if you're not a good coworker. I'm gonna be really annoyed. So there's a lot of that too for me. No, they couldn't, or more like they could not ask anyone to let me know when their families were in Europe at the same time. Oh, that is tricky. You have some ex-coworker friends and we still in touch a bit. That's good. You know, I'm scared of it. Like, something happens to someone in this community and they're able to communicate. How would any of us know? In some circumstances, there are other people in this community that know each other IRL. But if, like, something happened, y'all would never know. Yeah. That's the scary thing about internet friendships, is that some people can really just disappear and you'll never know why. Like, we would never know if, because there's so many different things that could happen, and it's like, it's scary. And I feel like internet friendships are also really interesting because, especially like in the Discord, everyone, and it's why like when everyone says like good morning and things like that, it's like super special to me, because it's like you have to make that conscious effort to check the Discord and send a message every morning. So I love that everyone's always saying good morning every morning. Because again, conscious effort of showing up in these spaces I think is really important. And I say these things, but it's also really hard for me to Our Jen is like, are you friend breaking up with me? Why would I do that? Crazy. That better be a joke. Okay, anyway, sorry. But yeah, conscious effort of showing up across like all walks of life. But I think it's really important because it's like, if people are important to you, it's important to not take that for granted either, too, you know? I don't think that it's also like, if you're friends with someone, I think it's also important to show your friends that you care if you want them in your life. I'm not a big fan of like if it's important, if there's a time that you need your friends to show up for you and support you, I think it's really important to do that. And not everyone thinks that way, if that makes sense. I feel like it's the sort of thing that sounds like a no-brainer, but when it actually happens, there's a lot of people that don't actually show up for friends. I've definitely made some friends through work. Oh yeah, we did discuss it, and I had nothing to do with what happened. They reached out to me as soon as they could, knowing I would need reassurance. That's good, at least. I've met some of my best friends at work. On the topic of communication with one of my high school friends, I should have realized I was always initiating us hanging out or talking all the time. It's always, again, like, it's always really important. You need to have that. It's a two-way street. You can't be the only person initiating everything for relationships all the time. Otherwise, people are just using you as, like, the person who plans the fun things for them to experience instead of genuinely wanting to spend time with you. He had another friend who went over to his house 24/7, so I decided to let him initiate us talking or hanging out. I haven't talked to him until I'm 21. I'm 25 now. Man. I met some of my best friends online, offline, not so much. I relate to that a lot. Again, as someone who, like, really struggles with, like, people in real life, it's a lot easier for me to just interact with people online. Again, it's part of the reason why I love streaming, because I feel like people are able to come into the space and interact with me in a way that makes me feel comfortable to respond. And again, it's why I have a hard time going into other people's communities or other people's streams, because I feel rude going into other people's spaces and just, like, talking, which is so weird, but that's why I feel more comfortable as, like, someone who curates a space and just invites people in, because then I don't have to second guess it. Because I'm like, I know I'm okay with everyone coming in here, and if I'm not, I can just kick them out. But I don't know if I'm ever going into a space where I'm not welcome. I get self-conscious about that. And I feel this way as well, Riley. There's so much we can talk about as being in a safe space with the community. It can be difficult to share some thoughts as we all are going through life. As I try to communicate and check in on you guys, I feel like I'm doing something good for not only everyone, including myself. Yeah, it's good. I agree with that 100%, because a concept that was really hard for me to grasp as someone who, like, I'm a chronic people pleaser, so I love to go out of my way to help people out and make them happy. And I'm also the type of person, I'm not so much anymore, I think I've gotten past it, but I was also the type of person to minimize a lot of my own feelings for the sake of other people. A lot of the times because I was told that, like, my emotions were inconvenient for other people, which is really unfair. I have a lot of thoughts about that sort of thing. But I think it's really important, and I think everyone should think that it's really important, to lean on your friends and to let your friends know when you're suffering. Even though it might seem like you might be burdening your friends, I think it's really important that everyone should think this way too, I think that's not true. If you don't tell your friends when you need support, you're not giving them the opportunity to be there for you when you need someone. You're depriving your friends the opportunity to be a good friend to you. And it's the sort of thing where, like, you think about, like, oh, if my friend's suffering, I want them to know they can lean on me. That sort of thing has to apply to you too. You have to give your friends the opportunity to be there for you. And it's the sort of thing where, like, it can be scary because you don't know, like, if you'll be turned away, but, like, that's where, like, trust comes in, like, your friendships and the two-way street, is that you have to be willing to let your friends be there for you and trust in the fact that they are your friend and they will be there when you need them. Yeah, I feel like I've invested in friendships that aren't as compatible as I thought. My best friendships are the ones that I don't feel like work, or like they don't, hold on. My best friendships are the ones that don't feel like work, or like they don't take too much effort or thinking. I think those are the best friendships, for sure. Those are the ones that I think are really important, where they're kind of like effortless, where you just naturally get along. Those are ideal, and I feel like everyone should have those types of relationships, because I think that the best relationships are the ones where it's like you just gel so much as people that you don't have to necessarily, like, work around them, like, in a way. Like, if it's something that requires a lot of effort, then, you know, that's okay, because not everyone has to like you, and you don't have to like everyone. And not everyone's gonna be friends, and that's okay. I think it's always a good lesson to understand that, like, oh, this is someone that I like hanging out with, but they're not someone I can hang out with, like, all the time. We're like, we can be friends, but we probably can't be close friends. I think it's important to recognize that too, and just be honest about yourself and not try to force a friendship to be something that it's not. Holds me accountable. Semi-lurk? Okay, thank you for lurking. I can get into funks where I withdraw from everyone. Yeah, I understand that a lot, and people withdraw for, like, a variety of reasons too. I know some people tend to withdraw because they feel like they're bad for everyone, which I think is kind of, I feel like a lot of that comes from, like, people being shamed for their emotions and feeling like they can't rely on anyone and that their negative feelings are a burden to other people. But I'm personally very, like, anti there are bad feelings. I'm pro all feelings are, like, neutral feelings. It's what you do in reaction to your emotions that is good or bad. Because being angry isn't inherently bad. It's what you do when you're angry that is good or bad. So if you're angry and you process it by lashing out to people, that's bad. But if you're angry and, like, you know, you journal about it, you, like, vent to your friends, there are healthier ways of processing it. One friend I still have today, he's the one I left my car with when I went to Philly with someone I was a shift lead over before. Oh, that's cool. We became friends due to mutual interest, and I wound up inviting him to a game night at my BFF's place. He got to know other people, and I was a part of my group of friends here in Colorado. That's how I kind of feel like what's happening with like me and Angie at work. Between like me, her, and Argenta. You know, I'm gonna instruct my IRL friends to reach out to one of y'all if something happens to me, because I feel like y'all deserve to know. I mean, why not? Hello, Andy. If I disappear, it's only because I don't want people to feel like I'm close to crossing your boundaries, or maybe I'm just mentally hurting withdrawing so I don't spread it. Yeah, and I feel like that's something that like people tend to feel, is that they feel like they have so much like negativity and they don't want to like affect other people. But again, I feel like it ties into like, you can test, you know, like not like you should be purposefully testing your friendships, but like allowing, you know, like allowing yourself to be emotionally vulnerable with your friends allows you to grow closer to them as well. Also made a lot of friends from internet car clubs. My main struggle for maintaining my friendships is because I struggle to perceive time passing. Yes, I feel that. I feel like I blink and 5 months have passed. I know it's a big issue with me and I do my best to reach out to people, but it is really hard and it goes against my nature, it feels like. Yes, I completely understand that. I struggle with that a lot too. I believe the term is like time blindness. I get that a lot within like a day-to-day basis. If I get super absorbed in something, I completely lose track of time. And I have definitely had relationships in the past where I've been really blamed for it. And it's hard because it's not something, like if you just get absorbed in things, the like flow of day-to-day life, it's really hard. This is why I feel like having like coping mechanisms and figuring out ways to like give yourself tools to better wade through life can be good if you can find them. Something that helps for me is I work really well with like planners and journals. So I like to get them when I can. This is one that I got for this year. I used to have my calendar on the wall, but I now have this one. And I try to write because I am really bad at tracking the passage of time and it helps me to see it visually. So I utilize tools in these to remind myself like every so often, like it's been a while since I reached out. Like I like to write reminders of like, think of all the people that I'm close to in my life. When was the last time I reached out to this group of people just to touch base and see if they're good? And just trying to write reminders to myself every month to like do something like that. But it is tricky. In a few years, I'm returning to Colorado. I miss that place. I really relate. I don't like asking for help. I feel like a lot of people don't like asking for help. And it makes sense because I feel like probably as kids, when we were asking for help, we were shamed for it. Or we were told, like, we shouldn't ask for help. We should be able to be independent and handle everything ourselves. But again, I hate that mindset. I feel like it feeds into this whole, like, loneliness epidemic. Humans are social creatures. We need to have a sense of community and people to rely on to like live our best lives. We operate best when we have our people. I will add though that I will always be there for my friends when they need me and reach out for help always. Probably one of my biggest issues. I may not be living here anymore in a few years. I may be moving to Philly. I blame my dad. Yeah, exactly. It's usually honestly like, it's something that like I did a lot of work on in the last couple years. Is like I just dug into a lot of my like childhood trauma, and I feel like it's kind of cliched, but it's like a lot of the reasons why we have the coping mechanisms that we do in life is because they are the tools that we developed in order to survive our life as a child. It's how we navigated the world. It's how things made sense to us. Is that in order to survive X event, we learn how to do Y and Z. And that's if it worked back then, why fix it if it's not broken? Is the sort of thing. That's how we get maladaptive behaviors. I feel this a lot and also blame my dad as well. Yeah, I have this issue too, man, don't worry. Gotta do what feels right. I'm in Arkansas because school is much cheaper as well as the cost of living. After I got a few more years of surgery, I'm probably gonna be in the Springs area. I still say, up to this day, like my other Twitch friends that became my close friends IRL, I still let them know about that. If it weren't for this community, I wouldn't be able to meet them with the recent methods of communication. I still make the best and do my best to keep in contact with them. As this started to change, it's time slowly taken for the opportunity to pass for a friend group. My brother lives in Arkansas. My dad would do that too, withdraw from the world. Yeah, there's a lot of like, either you would be shamed or you would watch how your parents would process things, again, because of like modeling for you as a child. If that's all you know, that's all you know. And again, it's why like reaching out to other people, consuming a variety of media, being exposed to a lot of different things, talking to all sorts of different people is also really important. Because again, community, we learn from each other. And it's good, and it's why I love doing these streams, because we can talk and share all our different experiences. When I try to reach out, I just get met with rejection or apathy, and it further reinforces it for me. Come to my community. We're here for you. Thanks, everyone. I hate that place. I was talking about it made me feel better, but it seems just to make it feel worse. Talking about things and being emotionally vulnerable. I feel like a lot of that, not to project. Also, thank you. I think that was Riley. Cut it off. Riley, thank you for giving us sub to Red Marker. I appreciate it. I don't mean to be presumptuous, but I feel like a lot of the time too, if it's really hard to open up and it makes you feel worse, I mean, there's a lot of things that can go into it. It depends on like the environment that you're opening up in as well. But that's why I really love having like curating like a warm environment for people to feel safe in, because being emotionally vulnerable, especially if you're not doing it often, is so fucking scary. It's like the scariest thing in the world, because it's like, if you spend most of your life just protecting yourself emotionally, it's so hard to like crack open those emotions and like sift through them. I'm a really introspective person, and it's the sort of thing because I'm a fucking masochist where I'm just always cracking open my feelings and trying to process them, but it is extremely painful. Oh yeah. Sorry to hear that. That's really difficult to deal with, but I think if you still try reaching out despite those negative feelings, that's better than just accepting the way that it'll always be. I firmly believe that we all will find those who are willing to put in the effort to help us. I agree with that. Very much so. It's one of the things that is really important to me in my community, where I want everyone to like be heard as much as possible. I really think that people deserve to have like a warm, safe space to talk about their feelings, because everyone's struggling with something and we all need someone to lean on, and we can all be that for each other. In my opinion. Hi, Andre! Thanks for being here, dude. Men in particular are conditioned to think that if they aren't stone resilient and handle all their problems alone, they're weak and unworthy as vicious. Yeah, there is a lot of the whole societal reinforcement of the patriarchy and how the masculine role within a, gender binary society works, which is really stupid, and it's also why abolishing the gender binary and like masculine and feminine roles, gender roles within society, really important to dismantle them. But that's also just like such a huge beast to navigate through, and a lot of that, the entry level for working through that as well, I think depends a lot on like your environment and how your family was and the social climate where you live. Real friends will help you no matter the situation. Yes and no. Real friends will support you in a way that is healthiest. I think it's really important, because I think, too, it's also really important to acknowledge that sometimes you don't know what's best for yourself, and good friends will help snap you out of that, because not everyone has self-preservation on the mind, like some people really want to get themselves like fucked up, and friends will pull you out of that funk, which can be kind of true. Like it depends, like help you no matter the situation can be kind of like vague depending on like what it is. But I say this in the context of like, I've definitely met some people who are like, if you're my friend, you'll support my decisions no matter what, which isn't necessarily always true. A lot of people can take a tyrannical spin on that perspective. So I think it's really important to also acknowledge like friends will help keep you on the right path if they're good for you and they're good people. It's crazy how parents don't understand how kids are super sponges. What they see, they do. What they see them do, they'll do. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I took a bunch of child psychology classes, like forever ago in college, being like a psych major, but like childhood development is super fascinating because they learn a lot through observation and through like mimicry. My parents only lashed out. If you met the people who raised me, you would likely have many, many questions about how I ended up so different. Well, if your parents lashed out, Andy, no wonder it feels bad to express yourself. Honestly, like, if you are only met with pain every time you try to open up emotionally, you will automatically just feel like you are in pain, whether it is there or not, preemptively. It makes sense, because you are just conditioned to associate those feelings together. My issue now is I have pent-up rage that I have nowhere to direct. For a long time I would tap into it and drive me, but now I feel like I just need to find a way to expel it for good. Yeah, I think that it is really good to confront anger. Anger is an emotion that I personally have buried a lot of the time. I would trend towards sadness, but confronting a lot of my feelings, I also have a lot of like rage and grief. about situations.
Thank you.
Thank you for the sub as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh wow. Riley, thank you for giving a sub to Andre as well. I appreciate it. But yeah, finding healthy ways to express emotions that make you feel destructive are really good. I had a whole awakening when I went into a rage room, which was really good because I really leaned into angry feelings that I had compartmentalized a lot. So in whatever way that it works, whether it's like writing or like going out like dancing. When I was younger, I really looked forward to like going out to like conventions and meeting people, socializing, and dancing especially because it felt like a really good way for me to like let out pent up emotion. Your calzone just arrived! Hell yeah. The way the people I am blood related to turned out has made me even less likely to want to ever have kids. If it ever happens, it would have to be with a partner who really wanted it, and I was confident we could work as a unit, and also it would have to be an adoption. I don't want these genes to propagate. Call out your friends when they need it and listen to your friends when they call you out. Yes, I think that's really important. I think it's super duper important to have people who are receptive to like if you have criticisms or concerns. Again, I feel like it's a hallmark of like having healthy adult relationships when you can confront someone about something that you have concerns with and know that you are not necessarily attacking their character and having faith in them that they're not attacking your character, but they're just concerned about you and they're coming from a good place because they want to make sure that you're okay. This is a subject I can throw 10 pence in. Growing up, before I knew what depression or anxiety were, I'd tell mom or nan that I was feeling bad or saddened and I didn't know why. I did a lot of that too. I wasn't expecting pity, but I sure did need, oh, quit your whining, stop throwing attention to yourself, you have nothing, stop the BS, or keep it up and I'll give you something to spot out. Yeah, that's all like fucked up. And this is exactly why it reinforces the idea of like we shouldn't talk about our feelings. My mom was very, when I would tell her about like the existential dread that I had about like having like bad feelings and stuff like that, she would just encourage me to turn to Jesus, which was really lame and stupid because it doesn't help. We need people to see us and understand our pain and just recognize what is happening to us and know that we're not alone and that it's okay to feel these things. Because nothing is going to stop you from feeling bad when you feel bad. You already just feel bad. Sometimes you just want someone to be there. Or sometimes you need someone to like hold your hand and work you through it until you feel okay. You're not with me, then you're my enemy, Anakin Skywalker. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. 41 months. Thank you. Thank you. I'm catching up on the chat. And your nan would threaten to hit you? That's messed up. I hope you are very far away from that. True, I'm sure if I had more understanding people who raised me, maybe it wouldn't be so shitty when I let myself talk about it. It's hard. It's the sort of thing where it's like, yeah. But it's also the sort of thing where it's like, it's never going to be too late either. The hardest thing about breaking out of the survival mechanisms that you learned as a kid is pushing through the pain when you're an adult. Because the thing about active change means you have to step outside of your comfort zone. And stepping outside of your comfort zone means you're going to be uncomfortable. So if you feel uncomfortable doing something, that means you're doing something different. That's what I would tell myself when I was working out of a lot of my, like, trauma knee-jerk reactions. Because when, like, in the years of, like, cause it's been, like, 4 years? Hold on. 2019, 2024. So it's been 4 years since I was severely traumatized, and I've done a lot of work on my own working through it, but it was really hard for a while because I would experience emotional flooding from a lot of it, so whenever I was confronted, my mind would just stop fucking working. And I would dissociate until the worst of my feelings had subsided until the event was over. And that was really, really hard to work through as like a knee-jerk reaction and not deal with that so that I would be a little bit more functional. But it is really, really hard to work through those things because our knee-jerk reaction is to just do what we've always done to protect ourselves. And you're fighting your survival instincts, trying to unlearn that if you're trying to let people in. If that makes sense. And hello, Tonesies. If anything, Avalanche are the ones who taught me it's okay to express feelings. For the longest time, I acted jaded despite whatever I was feeling because home conditioned me to not express anything if I wanted to survive. Exactly. And unfortunately, I feel like that's a super common experience, which sucks. Like, there's so many people that can relate to the experiences that you're having if we just talk about it. The only issue is that, like, we've been taught not to talk about it. Either that or just turn my pain into bad or cheap humor because I didn't want to burden other people with me. See, and that's the thing. You are not a burden. No one here is a burden. Having emotions does not make you a burden, it just makes you human, and it's unfair that people in our lives have made us feel like a burden for having these feelings. And it's important to have friends who recognize these things and cultivate that space. And it's hard too, because there's some people also, like some friends, some people in life haven't gone through doing the work to unpack these things too, and they get uncomfortable when other people express emotions because they don't know how to deal with their own emotions. That's something that's really important too, and it's important to recognize when those people are around and to like not be as close with those people. Because I definitely had someone who I thought was like a really good friend of mine, but when I was like talking to him about some of the things that happened to me, it was really crazy because I was talking about all this stuff and he was like, this sounds really similar to what my dad did to me, but if I acknowledge that what happened to you is what you say it is, I would also have to acknowledge this own truth about my relationship with my dad, and I'm not ready for that. It was like a fairly good boundary line for him to draw, but it also sucked because it really drew that line in the sand for me that like, this is not someone that I can be friends with at this point in time because he's not ready to confront these truths about himself that apply to me, and he would invalidate my experience and I would force him to confront something he's not prepared to confront. So that level of self-awareness is important, but it's also to recognize these things in other people who can't communicate it, unfortunately. Hi Ace! Welcome back, Cecilia. I feel as though a lot of people don't understand. They don't always have to have the answers either. There's a lot of that too! Sometimes just being a shoulder to lean on and an ear to bend is enough for us to work out our own issues. It's like repeating something out loud. Some things you just need to hear yourself say it in a different context. Yes. That's why also in my Discord, it's not always used the same way, but I have the big comfy couch and I have the life advice corner. Because sometimes you just need to have things said and you just need to know you're not alone and you just need people to hear you and be there for you and be that shoulder. And you don't necessarily want people to tell you, like sometimes you just have like a shitty day or something terrible happens and you just need people to be like, I'm so sorry, that sucks. You'll be okay, you'll get through this. Thank you for telling us, you know? Thank you for letting us know these things about your day that are completely human. Like, it's bad days happen. And then there's some days where you're like, I'm lost and I don't know what to do. Can someone offer me advice? So there's two different things as well. And I know that it's really hard in friendships as well when someone comes to you with a problem. Maybe they just want to be heard and they don't necessarily want to have like direction on it. It's important to have the distinction between the two as well, because sometimes if you go to someone and you just want to be heard and they keep asking you like, well, have you done this? Have you done that? It can feel kind of invalidating in a way because it's like you're not going for like advice. It's like you already know what you have to do. You're just frustrated about it and you want to express it. I think it's important to differentiate like between those situations, like what type of support that you're looking for as well. Welcome back with your dinner, Cecilia. Cool thing about being raised by my mom and grandma is I think I'm pretty good at expressing my feelings. Growing up, it was seen as a negative for men to express emotion. A lot of it depends on like who raised you, and that's a difficult thing I think about like raising kids as well, is that like a lot of your parents, like their stance on a lot of things are, that's gonna be how they're gonna raise you as well, and a lot of it is gonna be impacted by like where they're at like in life. So like if parents aren't good at expressing their emotions, they can't teach you how to express your emotions because they don't know how to do it. It's that sort of thing. Oh dude, anger. I'm trying to learn healthy ways to express my anger without yelling and being confrontational, but man, it's hard to unlearn because that's all I saw my pathetic excuse of what dad did with his anger when he got angry. It's really good that you acknowledge that. So good on you for that, honestly. I feel like recognizing when you have maladaptive coping mechanisms is like the first step. Because once you recognize that it's an issue, then like if it starts happening, it's the sort of thing where like you realize you're getting riled up and that you're starting to become confrontational and you can pull yourself back. And that's like the first step in disrupting having those really unhealthy mechanisms, is that you can stop, you can finally start making those steps to like stop that cycle from repeating. And you can like divert that energy into looking into other ways to express it. But I'm sorry that that is also how he expressed himself. I posted a picture on Discord. He made veggie burgers on English muffins with eggs and bacon and added lettuce. That was yummy. Words as I can understand this, when I learned as I did personal research that we'll still try to figure out life as we're all still living, figure out what we can do. Also on the topic of friend breakups, I have the experience of still being friends with both people after a breakup. My best friend from college and I became roommates, and he had found a boyfriend when he was back in Denver, so we were all roomies. Him and his boyfriend eventually moved to their own place, more downtown / closer to where they worked. They eventually broke up mutually, but you're still friends with both. I feel like it's good and healthy when that sort of situation can work, and I do really think that it requires like a degree of maturity and self-awareness from both parties. But that is good, because I know that it is possible, and it's good when it does. College friend is a drag queen friend I mentioned that moved to NYC and is now in Chicago. He now has a new partner, and I'm happy for him, and his ex I'm still friends with, is a new partner as well, and they happily own a townhome together. They got invited to the housewarming for it. That's good. Some people just aren't meant to be in each other's lives. Some people think that they're good romantically, but they're better as friends, or vice versa. It's always, I think it's important to like understand these things and move through them as gracefully as possible. But a lot of that, again, depends on the maturity of the individuals. Kind of what I've been dealing with. Oh, hi, Nick! Thank you for lurking! I appreciate you. How you doing, Ace? My dad is basically a jacked, like, uncanny resemblance. And that's what I love about, like, video games and media, is that it's really important to explore unhealthy relationships that exist.
Thank you.
Riley, thank you for giving a sub to Nick. Not to be a shill for Baldur's Gate 3, but that was definitely one of the big driving things of like why I loved Baldur's Gate 3 is because it was the exploration of abuse victim dynamic and how the many different ways that it can appear and the many different ways that you can navigate through those types of situations. Having representation of even bad things like that and having healthy depictions of like dealing with that and moving through it, I think is really important. I think it's really important to not glorify things and show them for how they actually are. And be tricky. It's been so long. I've never been better. But when I think about it, I feel like I've grown to someone I'd like to be around. That's always good. I think that's really important. Which is a huge step because 3 years ago today, I hated myself like crazy. I just need to teach myself that it's okay to cry when I feel it rather than bottle it up. Yes! And wait for it to rain. Let out a couple tears and blame it on the rain itself little by little. Little by little is very true. It's really important. Working on like self-betterment and like changing your mindset is something that's so difficult, and it's not something that can happen overnight. Like it's really something that you have to like incrementally push yourself to like work on changing your mindset a little bit. It's very rough, like hard work, but it is worth it a lot. Especially taking the time to be comfortable with your emotions and allowing yourself to express them. I am a big crier. I think it's really important to have like big cathartic cries. It's good to like watch sad movies sometimes if you need a little help to cry. I think there's like chemicals that get released when you cry and stuff like that, but it's really good and important to express yourself when you have those feelings. It's like the only negative feeling I haven't taught myself to deal with. Sadness. I feel like sadness and anger are like the big ones because sadness is an emotion that a lot of people associate with like being weak, and anger I think gets associated with like destruction a lot. Because I know a lot of my issues are like I don't like to be angry because I feel like being angry is bad and I've been conditioned to be good. Whenever we get to watching Perks of Being a Wallflower, I'm gonna fucking bawl. I read the book. I remember enjoying it. It was in my like a big Tumblr book phase with like reading like John Green and stuff. Are you guys drinking water? I didn't drink a lot. Talking. That is a beautiful tearjerker type movie. I've not seen the movie and I have not read the book in a really long time, but before food has been consumed, good. Staying hydrated, GD. Hi, Estelle. Need to drink water when you woke up. How long has it been since you woke up? More water, everyone. Going back to the topic of friend breakups, I don't know if I made it super clear, but I think it's also important to realize that it isn't necessarily always your fault, and it's not the type of thing where you just weren't a good enough friend for them to keep you in their life. It goes both ways, unless it's like not so mutual, but I think it's important to have friends who are just as excited as you to have you in their life the way that you are happy to have that in your life. 4 hours? Do you have water? Okay, good. I think reciprocity is something that is vital for like all relationships. And I think that it is a disservice to allow yourself to chase after friendships where people don't want to put in that same amount of effort with you. Whether it's like you're the one who's always planning, doing everything, or organizing get-togethers and stuff like that, like that's unfair because friends should also contribute to the friendship and taking the time to plan all of those things. And realistically, like sometimes there's like an imbalance where like maybe one person likes to do the planning, for example, and the other person's really bad at planning. But if that's the case, you know, there's other ways to compensate as well. Like just reaching out and being like, hey, like I saw this thing that sounds like it might be cool to do. Would you be interested in that? Or like, oh, thanks. Even just acknowledging like, thanks so much for planning. I think even recognizing things that people do can go a really long way as well. Like just being cognizant of it and recognizing effort, I think is showing that appreciation can be really good. If someone plans all the time, just being like, you're always planning these trips, you know, you can try to offer planning for at least when, or like, oh, you got all of like the logistical planning out of the way, let me take care of the food. Just putting in that effort so that one person is not always doing 200% of the work all the time. I feel sometimes it also happens when you have a closer relationship to one friend over the other, you just tend to drift to the one you have a stronger connection with. Yeah, if like a friend group is breaking apart too, it just like naturally makes sense that like if you are closer with someone and you habitually are talking to them every so often, then naturally over time you will keep in touch. My friend Archangel Debbie, he's like one of our spiritual close friends in our group. He made a point that not everyone lasts forever, so he's trying to maintain mutual understanding within our friend group. Exactly. It's very much, again, like I was saying earlier, I think it's really important to recognize that, like you said, not everything lasts forever. There's a lot of things in our life that are like seasons, whether they are friends or even like hobbies or interests. And this was something that like I've been dealing with because cosplay is something that I'm phasing out of for like a lot of reasons, but it's like that season of cosplay and like cos fame and like crafting and stuff like that is like, it's been dying for me for a while. I'm like in my winter season for it. It like comes and goes, but it's hard because like there's some things that like love or have fond memories of, whether it's an event or with people, that you just kind of have to learn to let go of. And I think that's one of the difficult things as you grow older, is grieving good times that you had, but recognizing that those times are no longer feasible because it's like economically things are not what they used to be. Socially, like the people that you know are different. What you have going on in your life, like some things just change. And again, it's like the whole seasons analogy where it's just like it was good while it lasted, but sometimes that's just kind of how it is, and making peace with that I think is really, really hard. And it's something that I think everyone deals with, because you can't do the same things for forever. And it's why it's important to love the things and enjoy the things you like to do now. And I think it's also really important to always be hungry for new experiences, because you can always feel like you're stagnating as well if you never change. This topic hits home for me a bit. Thank you for covering this. Thank you for being here. Everyone is welcome to jump in, and also don't feel pressured to jump in if you'd like to lurk and listen as well. Thank you for lurking and listening. Low-key, he be the chain within our group. Besides my best friend, is the three of us oversees everything within our friend group. Yeah, I feel like there tends to be people who are kind of like glue, like they're the people who keep everyone together. And it's just kind of how relationship dynamics work. You know, one thing my therapist does that I really like is when I do share things with him, he thanks me for sharing. It seems so small, but I love that. It's good. It's important, I think. It's just like little acknowledgements. I do think that a lot of like our most intimate relationships that we can have with people is recognizing like little things. Because I think there's a lot of things that people do tend to take for granted that people do. And taking a second to just like stop and recognize it for just a moment is like really important. And it's why it's really important for me. Like people always talk about like, oh, it's because the community exists, but it's so important for me every time to be like, but I'm just a person. The point that everyone takes the time every day to come in and show up is what makes the community. Like it's a group effort. Conversations don't exist if there isn't a person there. Like I could be sitting here talking to a camera with absolutely no one. There's so many people here on Twitch that stream to like 1 to 2 people, if even that. The things that I'm able to do only exist because you are here. And I think especially like because you're not here on the screen and you're just a viewer, it can be really hard to feel that way. But every individual person is important and does matter. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you feel insignificant, every person matters. everything you do, every small thing. Thank you for sharing all of that. Like, you are vital even if you don't feel that way. I heard you bring up crying while I was getting chips. I haven't cried since I was 15 or 14. I almost cried once in my 20s because I was reading about the horrors. Oh, Imperial Japan. Yeah, that shit's bad. Kind of miss the feeling of a cry. Watch some sad movies. Check them out. Explore your feelings. Think about how they make you feel. Lean into them. Listen to some sad music. I think it's good. There's a good chemical release that happens. And it's just good to have a cry, like, in a safe space. I think it's really important. Having panicked, freaked out crying is not so great. But having, like, an emotional, expressive cry, I think can be really good. Hello, Dr. Will Hoskins. Welcome, welcome. I'll admit, something I released last year called I'm Fine, Thank You was inspired by a friend breakup. While I have stopped beating myself up over it, to this day I'm still convinced it's my fault, and I just wish I had had better judgment back then. It did birth a beautiful project I'm still proud of to this day. It's just bittersweet. But I'm glad it taught me the lesson it did. It helped me grow as a person in many ways. That's good. I'm sorry that that happened to you as well. I think it's also really important, and this is something that I need to learn as well, but like, being human also means that we're fallible, and we make so many mistakes, you know? It's just kind of how we are. Like, you'd think that we would know better. Hindsight's always 20/20, but we're always going to do things that are going to hurt other people, unfortunately. Hopefully we're the type of people who never want to hurt other people, but I think it's important to come to terms with the fact that, like, sometimes we're going to make decisions that really fuck up other people. It's important to recognize, like, when it happens and to, like, let go of your ego as well, to, like, own up to things that you've done, but there's so much, like, nuance in that. But especially if you're regretful when you don't mean to hurt someone too, I think it's important to take away, like, not falling into self-pitying and being like, I should have done better, and just recognizing I fucked up because I did this, this, and this, and next time I'll be sure not to do that. This is a lesson I've taken away from that. And just, like, understanding the lessons to take away from it instead of using it as, like, a self-flagellation tool as well. The best thing that you can do from a ruined friendship is to take away, like, an important lesson to not hurt people the same way in the future. It's like when you have, like, a fire and something grows back after the fire, in my eyes, of, like, recognizing in the wake of that devastation, you can learn something. Oh, I hella grieve my time as a teenager because I didn't do much as a teen. I feel very regretful about my childhood from what I can even remember, because there were so much, you know, as a kid, things were so much easier, but I didn't know a lot of the things that I know now. Frustrating. But there's only so much that you can do. I'm okay, I just feel better having mental health Mondays. Because you needed to vent and share, please, feel free. The feeling after a good cry in a safe space feels so good. Yeah. It's the best. Like, it sucks sometimes, but it's really good. I have so many memories of, like, me and my friends, like, staying up late. And the room is dark, and one of us is sobbing our fucking eyes out, and the other one is just kind of, like, holding the other person. The best feeling to allow yourself to break down and have someone hold you and make you feel safe is a very good and special feeling, and I really think that that intimacy with friends is something that everyone should experience and should have. I'll be lurking. I want to chime in on my own experiences, but I feel a bit overwhelmed thinking about it. That's completely fine. Take all the time that you need. It is definitely a lot. There's definitely a lot to process with these sorts of things. And, you know, these experiences are very complex, and it's important to also recognize that,
Thank you.
Hi, Jacob! Thank you for being here! It's important to recognize as well that we can also hold conflicting feelings about things. Like, you can be happy and mad and sad about something. You don't have to necessarily feel one thing about something too. And I think that's really important. I feel like some people feel like, oh, I'm happy for it, so it must be, like, a good thing. And then they are, like, you know, like, maybe you're in love with someone and they're not in love with you, but they're getting married, for example. And you're, like, heartbroken, but you're happy for them, but you're also mad at yourself. And sometimes people get real fucked up over those feelings because they don't want to allow themselves to have all these feelings. But I think it's really unfair because realistically, like, you can't shame yourself into feeling better about that sort of thing. You know, like, you're just gonna feel that way. And, like, chastising yourself for them and just trying to shove them in a box, it doesn't do you any favors, in my opinion. I think it's really important to confront them and to deal with them in whatever capacity you can, whether it's talking it out with someone, taking down to just sit and feel, I think is really important. I think that's something that a lot of people don't do because they feel uncomfortable about their emotions, but just sitting there and like feeling it and breathing and just existing through the emotion can be really important as well. But it's really important to acknowledge those things. And relatedly, leaning a bit into self-esteem is the sort of thing that I believe too, where a lot of like self-shame and like talking down to ourselves, like sure, self-deprecating humor can be funny, but I think it's also really, really important to acknowledge that you can't hate or bully or shame yourself into something better for yourself. Like you can't, that sort of thing won't allow you to be like healthier or happier. You know, you can't make yourself happier that way. It doesn't work like that. Being human is a curse and a blessing for real. Legitimately, it is. Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with. If it's too much right now, that's absolutely okay. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for the alert. Yes. Feels good to have somewhere I can speak things like this. Thanks. Thank you, Andre, for talking about your experiences and speaking up. It's the sort of thing too where it's good to be brave to talk about these emotions, to let people know how you're feeling, because then I understand you better. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to know you better. And other people who might be having similar experiences might feel more empowered to, dealing with their own situations, hearing about your situation. So thank you for sharing. This applies to everyone, speaking up. Or when you're sobbing at the restaurant post-game wars while your friends are just jiving next to you. Sometimes you're just so happy that the only way you can express your feelings is by crying your eyes out. Crying doesn't have to always be sad. Now you now love pancakes. Oh my god. How you been, Jacob? Thanks for being here. April Fools. Oh yeah, I guess it is also April 1st. So funny. It's funny to like come all the way down here and see all these bongs, like when I was talking. But I hope everyone is doing okay on this April 1st and hasn't been pranked too horribly. It's not even April 1st where you're at, G. Anyways, but yeah. What other thoughts do I have to share? Ghost. I've not been pranked except by you changing the Discord name. I did a couple of fun things in Discord. I saw someone else change the Discord icon to look like it permanently had a notification symbol on it, and I was like, that's really mean. 2 a.m. my time to see the Discord change. I was freaking out. I was like, did Avalanche disappear? I know. Don't worry. I'll change it back to it tomorrow. That is too much. I know. I heard about that. And I was like, that would drive me crazy. Because I'm the type of person that likes to clear all of my notifications. I would go insane. I was like, that's too mean. I couldn't do that. For some people to be like, why'd the notification number go down? You'd fucking go insane. I know, right? Are the only fools to Luigi lovers? Even on April Fools, 8-Ball is my nemesis. Good one though. I just want to say this. I'm an alcoholic and drug addict. I've been sober for 6 years and clean for 5. If you really want to quit, it's possible. I'm also a combat vet with anxiety, depression, PTSD. You can do it. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Wilhouse. It is hard. It is also very possible. I also think it's important to acknowledge that it is supremely difficult to get through all of that as well. I don't know if people have told you that they're proud of you or if it's something that feels like presumptuous for people to say, but you have a lot of my profound respect for being able to work through that sort of thing. It's hard as hell to work through like a singular one of those things, and dealing with all of that is like, that requires a monumental amount of willpower. So good on you and thank you for sharing. It's super hard, but you can do it. I absolutely agree. I'm a big believer in like any change is possible given enough time and effort and dedication. It just requires, if you're willing to put in the work, I think anything is possible. That's important to acknowledge. And sometimes some people don't want to put in the work, and like that's okay, but I also think that it's important to acknowledge that if you're not willing to put in the work, you shouldn't want it. Does that make sense? I feel like that's kind of mean to say, but it's like, if you really want something, it's important to go after it. If it's like feasible, you know, like if you want to be a better person, you talk about how you want to be like a better person. If you're like, oh, I'm really mean, I want to be nicer to people, but you never put in any effort to be a nicer person, and you actively choose to not be a nicer person, stop saying you want to be a nicer person. And then it just looks like virtue signaling, where you just want people to think that you want to be a better person without having to do any of the work to be a better person. Wow, I could soapbox about that. About 10 of the servers I'm in had that red notification. I went crazy. Oh no. Hi, Randall. When I saw the icon being different this morning, I had a good chuckle and was hardly surprised you pulled something to refer to Baldur's Gate 3. Of course not. Never easy, but it's always possible. Yeah. Changes are always possible with effort, and I think it's important. Especially like in today's like media climate, it's important to also recognize that like major changes don't happen overnight. Change is different for everyone, and incremental changes and incremental progress is ultimately what paves the way to bigger things. In change, and again, like in relationships, showing up and doing small things, putting in the work for the little things, what's really important. Grand things don't always have to be done by doing grand things. You can do small things that can build up in time to be grand. Chat head pat. So, here you go. Doing alright. Second crown appointment was today. The assistant that walked out last time was there. Oh my god. Doing the impression left my tooth felt like it was 12 rounds in boxing, like a raw sore, but a few levels higher. Feeling better right now though. I'm glad you're doing better right now. I wonder what happened. I'm assuming you did not get any context for why the assistant walked out. I hope you feel 100%. When I saw that banner change, I thought Steph went to the dark side. It's okay, we just have Aerith choosing violence now. Which fits in with the general we're villains today theme. I'm glad the VA changed when I got out of the army in 2017, when I went to the inpatient psych ward, when I wanted to unalive the guy who my ex cheated on me with and myself. I am glad that things are better now. I can definitely understand why you would have such strong feelings about that sort of thing. That is definitely an infuriating situation, to say the least, and I'm really sorry that happened. God damn. I don't have either of those two emotions anymore, FYI. I realized that was stupid AF. I mean, it's a strong reaction, to be sure, but I don't... Again, I'm always gonna be team, like, it's not stupid. I can understand where you're coming from. It is a strong reaction, to be sure, but I can understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't say that it's, like, completely insane and, like, left field, you know? Not saying that it's good to feel like you wanna unalive people, but I can also understand where you're coming from. I want to know the lore at the dental office now. Your dental office is lore, dude. Break time's over? Okay, thanks for hanging, Cheese.
Thank you.
Thank you for the follow. Be safe, Ace. Be safe traveling. If you don't want to be with me, fine. That's not a problem, but don't cheat. Yeah. I think that's a lot of issues with people, too. Again, it goes into, like, communication. But relationships and stuff like that have so much nuance of, like, some people don't know how to leave. Some people are afraid to leave. And then that becomes a problem. For sure, because then you start hurting people when you make irresponsible decisions. It's cute seeing everyone say goodbye to each other. I think recognizing what you want and knowing what you want is really important in romantic friendships and platonic friendships as well. Being with people that are in your life, whether they're like friends or romantic partner, and recognizing if you still want them in your life and choosing to drift apart, sever ties, whatever you need to do, I think is like a really important skill. I think a lot of people are afraid to take those steps because I mean, I don't know. I'm also a big believer of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because I think a lot of the time people think that there is a lot of immediate pain. This is a mindset that I used to have. But there's a lot of immediate pain that comes with directly confronting people that you no longer want to associate with and letting them know that you want to go separate ways. I think that can be hard for a lot of people, whether it's like you're breaking up with someone or you're telling a friend. I think a lot more people are inclined to take the slow and easy way out and drift apart, but that is not something that works in romantic relationships, because romantic relationships require a fuck ton more communication between both partners, because you're supposed to be like a unit working together on something. So never reflecting when that happens, because you can't drift your way out of a relationship. You can't take the easy way out. It's important. I mean, ideally, this sort of thing doesn't happen with friends either. Like, hopefully, no friend is like ghosting another friend. But I do feel like sometimes people intentionally allow their friendships to die out a little bit as they pull back or drift away. But I'm always sometimes it's better to just talk it out upfront about these things, so that there's no room for misinterpretations and everyone knows where everyone's at. But not everyone operates that way as well. Better or for. But communication is a really important skill. I feel like not everyone necessarily works on developing, and I think it's a sort of skill that requires a lot of like being intentional about yourself, the way that you come off, and how, I don't know, it's a lot of like interpersonal like work that I feel like people really struggle with, and it's hard, but I think it's important to work on developing those skills as much as you can, because a lot of life is built on communicating with other people, and so I think it's always worth it to work on how you express yourself without other people. It's always going to be difficult, but I think that it helps you look into ways or examine, if possible, ways that you communicate to make it a little bit easier. According to Robert Tepper, there's no easy way out for what? For like romantic relationships or ending relationships in general, or I think a lot of the time, if this is like relationships in general, I think a lot of the time of Evangelion, because they talk a lot about the hedgehog's dilemma, which is like the hedgehog's desire to be close with people. The closer you get, the more you hurt each other. It's a song. Oh, karaoke night. Hello, Rico. Am I in time for the topic of the day? Yeah, we're always talking about that. Or anything else that you want to talk about. Kind of sitting here talking about things and my opinions on this topic. Feel free to share your thoughts about this sort of thing. If you have any thoughts. Or I can just blab about my thoughts on it. I have on the side what people were kind of talking about. But yeah. People were just very much wanting to talk about friend breakups or friends drifting apart naturally. Pretty much all I'd really said was that like it's the sort of thing that happens a lot, and it happens. I feel like a lot of the time it happens naturally as we move through things in life, moving out of systems where we're seeing people regularly, and especially as we get older and busier with our own lives. I didn't touch on this too much either around this topic, but around this time too, because I just turned 30, so around this time in my life as well is when people start settling down and having kids. And I think that's something that's really important to acknowledge, because establishing a family is something that takes a lot of time. And I feel like that's something that doesn't necessarily get like talked about as much either. Establishing a family is really hard work. As someone who's witnessing a lot of people start to like settle down and have kids and stuff, and I think it's really important because, especially in a society where a lot of people purposefully choose to be child-free, it's important to recognize the commitment that you take when you choose to have a kid. And also, I think it's important for people who don't have kids to understand the commitment that people are going to have to make when they decide to start a family. Having a family takes a shit ton of time and money. It does. And it will forever change your life if you decide to take that route. Not necessarily in a bad way, but I think it's important to also be cognizant of the way that life changes irrevocably. doing that. And I think it's important to support people who want that as well. Steph is so old. I'm not that old. I'm just around that age. Still young for a human. Friend breakups hurt as much as romantic breakups, maybe even more. I think you were aware from my FB feed. If it showed up in your feed. I don't super look at my Facebook like a lot. I'll like go in and scroll for like 2 seconds and then leave. So I don't really see it like a lot. Trying to heal from losing your best friend after she came all the way there to visit you and told you to F off. Why did she put in all of that effort just to say that to you? That's crazy. I'm getting too old to start having a family.
Thank you.
Riley, thank you for gifting us something to read. If that's something that you want, I think people who want to have families should be involved in families. I think it's important for the people who want that to have that. I think people who aren't enthusiastic about families should not have families. And I think there's a lot of people that are not enthusiastic about families that have them. That's not good. Hi, Chris. Help Steph cross the street and cuts up her food. I am not that old yet. I'm sorry that happened to you, Rico. But they most certainly can. I think it's important to acknowledge that friend breakups can be just as painful, if not more, than romantic breakups. Just because, like, I feel like it makes sense for, like, a romantic breakup. I mean, like, I don't know. Friendships, I feel like, can be kind of, like, slower burns. But, like, it's the emotional intimacy of them that I think are really important. I think it's because, like, friendships feel a little bit more, like, low stakes. So they aren't as romantic, that perhaps it feels a little bit more painful because you would think that people would stay for at least that. I think it's kind of the mentality with that. But it doesn't make sense to me when people would put in all the effort to do that sort of thing and then do that. And I don't think that it's necessarily, like, I don't see the point of being rude or disrespectful to people unless they specifically do something that warrants that, in my opinion. Got a bit of a story to share regarding your first ever breakup? Feel free. Feel like you want to. This is definitely that. I have so many breakup stories. Like I mentioned earlier, I just recently gone through a breakup a month ago. I broke up with the person that I was with, and it had sort of recently turned not so great. And it's important to understand too that some people are really committed to a narrative that they've constructed in their own head, to phrase it. Some people will be committed to misunderstanding you no matter how many times you try to make your intentions known and understood. Sometimes, no matter what you do, people will not want to listen to what you have to say. They won't want to listen to what you have to say. They want to believe you mean something else inside their head because they would rather choose the narrative that they've constructed that makes them feel better than face what you're really doing. That general lesson is something that I've been dealing with for the past like 5 years. And it's why I beef with the relativity of reality, because it made it really clear to me that everyone's perceptions of reality are different depending on their motivations and what they get out of things. Because just because I can tell the truth doesn't mean that my objective truth is going to be the same for someone else. If they choose not to believe in it first, or anything like that, like, it doesn't matter what the truth is to me if someone chooses not to believe in it. But that's like the principles of why gaslighting is. We're all over my mouse now. Happened around September. Just today I almost broke down because I heard the train horn. Why? She loves trains and I always record audio of it passing by. Sorry for that. That is very hard. Because the thing is that, like, whether they're romantic or platonic, they are still important people to you in your life that matter. And it's always sad to see people like that. Which cat hair white face, sorry. Because I've only ever had romantic relationships online. My first one was with someone I met on Gaia Online, met playing puzzles, no less. We became close and decided to start a relationship. We commissioned artists on guides, made art of our avatars together. It all felt really real, even though it wasn't IRL. Again, the subjectivity of real, I think, is always something that's really interesting to me. because it's like adjacent to like D&D, and it's adjacent to like video games and books. And I remember Travis Willingham especially saying this, but like just because something isn't real doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Just because like you did not go on the journeys physically that you read about in books or play in games, or just because you didn't do anything like physically, you still have the emotional experience of undergoing these things, and like you know you have that, and to me that is like what feels real. That is what is kind of like, because you have memories about these, you know. Everyone's the hero in their story. There's a lot of that as well. I do think it's important, again, important life skills are acknowledging like when you fucked up and maybe when you didn't do things the best. I try to be grounded and objective in like things that I do and try to understand as fairly as possible, but I also think that it's important to ask for things. I feel like sometimes when I'm trying to be objective, I don't give myself enough slack, but I advocate for myself as well. And I think everyone should learn to advocate for themselves. Know that you are allowed to take up space, and you should take up space. I cried over not being able to be with this person IRL, but I tried to process with some of my friends, but after like a little over 3 years, I felt like I was the only one ever putting in some effort. Like I'd always be the one to initiate a conversation. Like I decided to stop and see if they'd ever take an initiative, and they never did. Like a day passed and you were like, okay, then a week, then a month. Tried to reach out to see if everything was okay, but you got ghosted. That's a bummer. That's the worst. They just like stopped, and because you stopped, they stopped. That's unfair. Again, the reciprocation is important in all relationships. All relationships require work. I think it's goofy if people think that friendships don't require some degree of effort the way that relationship. I still think about them sometimes, wondering how they're doing, but like, so it goes, I guess. Yeah. Always tricky. Sometimes I think about like when I was like 11 or 12, playing like video games and having like people be like my online boyfriend or girlfriend, and then like for whatever reason I would stop going to that website, and I was like, how did that relationship end? Did I just disappear one day? Was I one of those people that just signed off, or did they disappear one day? Or 15 years ago now? I had a couple people that I met like Gaia online, one person. You're in college. It's crazy. I mean, again, if some people just stop showing up, then that's it. Whether it's IRL, where people just stop putting in the effort, or it's online and people stop logging in, like, again, effort is like bottom line. Holy, I forgot about my RuneScape girlfriend. Hi, Rex Mechanica. It's funny in a way, because I feel like, especially like if you were online, like you probably met someone and like got along well with them enough to where you were like dating. In Robocop voice creep. It's, I don't know. Hard. Some people don't take it like super seriously. Some people do. There's different degrees to it. You had a Star Wars Galaxies girlfriends? I had a Ragnarok online boyfriend because his avatar looked like Edward Elric. And 12-year-old me was really obsessed with Edward Elric. I remember in middle school, one of my friends, she was totally catfished. But she, I think it was like in an IRC chat, she met someone. That's just kind of how it is. I don't think I had any other online relationship. I remember these two dudes were fighting over me when we were trying to do a raid, and I was so fucking embarrassed. I was like, this is so stupid. Crazy. Online dating when I was 12 was so funny. Yeah, Twi'lek. I never had any relationships in middle or high school. Yeah, I grew up as someone who really loved romantic relationships, but felt like I was deeply unlovable. I had crushes on people my whole life, even in preschool. It was something that I very much like tended. Like, I'm someone who identifies as demisexual, but I, especially being older, realized that I think it's because I was craving a lot of emotional intimacy due to being neglected as a child, that I would bond a lot with people who were kind to me, which sets me up for a really terrible time. So there's so many people that I would be like, oh, they're really nice to me, I want all of their attention. Preschool, kindergarten, first grade, I remember being like best friends with this guy in like, I want to say like 3rd, 4th grade. I had a crush on this dude for a really long time. He was like really funny and really nice, and I was like so enamored with him. Funny how it happened. But I didn't start dating anyone until high school. Never had any relationships in middle or high school. Same stuff, I feel that. It was in high school when I had my first ever relationship. I could not believe that this person had feelings for me. That relationship, I feel like damaged me like a lot as a person, because the relationship ended when I noticed that he was not putting in as much effort into the relationship as I was. He was telling me I was really needy. He would play League of Legends all the time, and I asked for his attention, and he would be like, I'm busy, can't you just give me some space? Kept telling me I was needy when I was trying to talk to him, and like seeking reassurance about our relationship and stuff like that, until he eventually broke up with me. And then I realized that he was like hooking up with someone and immediately got into a relationship with someone else. And then I was like, I kind of feel like he probably cheated on me. So I was really hurt about that. Really sad about it. I lost a lot of friends over that relationship as well. I was like really fucked up for a while. And I mean, like, luckily I had another friend group at that time, but my previous friend group I lost completely because they're like, you're too obsessed with this guy, we're not gonna be your friend anymore. So there's a lot of that too. But ever since that relationship, I was like, I need to just become less problematic. I'm not gonna have any emotions. So then my next relationship was very emotionally abusive. And that's just been the blueprint for a lot of my relationships, unfortunately. I was never interested in just random people. The people I ever crushed on were friends that I'd already gotten to know over time. Hi, Joe! Welcome. I've never been in a relationship since my 25 years of age. The thought of being in one low-key gives me anxiety. It just proves I'm really not ready for one. Absolutely! And I mean, like, you know, some people just aren't interested in relationships. They're not necessarily for everyone. Attraction is so funky, and so many people think that it's like binary and simple, but there's so many different layers to it. I actually did a whole speech in my speech class in college talking about how attraction is so multi-layered, because you have sexual attraction, you have romantic attraction, and you have aesthetic attraction. And I think it's really important to differentiate between all three of them and recognizing what your certain feelings are on each of them. And differentiating between the three of them makes so much sense in my mind, especially as someone who identifies as demisexual, and I'm also pan-romantic. So a lot of these work hand in hand for me to identify the different degrees of which I feel attracted to. Someone having feelings for you is not hard for us to believe, I think. I mean, obviously things are different now that I'm older. I've had a lot of experiences in my life that have reshaped the way that I think about things, but it also doesn't change the fact that when I was like 15 and younger, it was impossible for me to conceive that someone could ever like me, because it had never really happened. There was one guy I knew who had a crush on me, and I didn't like him at all. Like, there were like 2. But both of them they just like helped themselves to my personal space. One of them left love letters in my binders in all my classes, and I really hated that someone was going through my shit. Another person recruited the help of the school janitor to break into my locker to leave a gift for me. Did not like that either. didn't understand why people I liked never liked me back until I got into my first relationship. But yeah, crazy. Media little shits. I've chosen to stay single since my last relationship. It's been 11 years since then. I think more even. You're demisexual, hetero, romantic, so I get it. I'm pan-romantic. I also, like, I'm very, like, I'm a fan of aesthetics. I love acknowledging beautiful things, but I don't necessarily feel... For me, relationships, I'm monogamous. I'm pan-romantic, and I also love having strong platonic relationships with people, and I think that gets people really confused a lot of the time.
Thank you.
Hello, that one from CT. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it, friend. Thank you, thank you. But yeah. Healthy blessings, friends. Hi, Vic. 2+ years since my last one. She made me change my policy on dating at least until I graduate and settle down. If that's not okay, the janitor should have been fired for that. Even now, I find it impossible to believe someone would even feel a smidge of attraction to me. I'm bi-curious, and I don't know what type of romantic. That's fine. Most of the people I've ever told I had a crush on them didn't reciprocate. One person actually laughed in my face. That's fucked up. And basically berated me and said, how could I ever like you? I don't think that there was any capacity, like there's no, it's just immature and rude to be mean to someone because it takes a lot of vulnerability to confess your feelings. I think it's really important to respect that at the baseline. Why not just slip the note into the little things? I don't know what they're called instead of breaking into it. Like what the heck? Oh, well the guy broke into my locker because he made me something in woodshop. He made me like a box or something and he wanted, I don't anyways, it was just, there's so many different ways I could have gone about it and he chose not to do it and it really bothered me, obviously. Messed up, but yeah, I'm getting married in a few months and I frequently have to tell my fiance that I still have a hard time accepting all their love because I've never been so loved before and it feels weird. We're doing great though, just something I have trouble with. Completely understandable. It is very tricky when you are in a situation where you feel like you are finally like understood and it like feels too good to be true, but it's like happening and you don't want to be like not acknowledging that it's happening because like very clearly it's happening and you're really grateful for it. It's just sometimes it's like overwhelming and a lot because you're like, your brain can't process the rationality of the situation and it's something that you're so unused to. It's a sort of thing where you're like, over time maybe I'll like get more used to it, but there's always gonna be moments where you're sitting there and you're like, god damn, my past self could see like what's happening to me. Yeah, I don't even know. You know, there's that small inner child portion of you that is just kind of like, is this really real? I feel like it's good to have those feelings though. Like sometimes it's like kind of crazy, but I think it's also good because then I feel like it's an indicator of like how good it is. Well, you're just kind of like, wow, I'm really lucky. I'm happy for you. Bruh, in grade school, I remember some girl I had a crush on found out in front of the whole class, told me I was ugly and I will never like you. Holy shit. Again, kids are so mean. I will always say kids are mean. That's fucked up to do. I think it's important, again, to respect people's feelings because it takes a lot for people to be like that. I had someone in middle school, I was so embarrassed about people ever finding out that I ever had feelings for them. There's a guy that I kind of had a crush on, and I don't think I ever knew that I had feelings for him, but there was like a point where he had an inkling, I think, and he was really mean. He like laughed in my face and like made fun of my acne, and I was already struggling with so many body issues in middle school. That was really terrible. I also had a prank played on me in middle school where a guy that I was really good friends with, one of my friends prank called me pretending to be that guy and confessed feelings for me. And that made me so fucking confused about my friendship with this guy. It was really awful. Really bad. Don't prank call people pretending to be people having feelings for them. It's fucked up. It's a different kind of be able to laugh in someone's face like that, whether it's immaturity, influence from young and impressionable. That shit is traumatizing. It really is. It's fucked up. Learning boundaries needs to be curriculum in every level of school. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a big fan of, like, learning how to communicate with people, learning how to know yourself is really important. Because, like, in order to know boundaries, you need to know yourself. And in order to know yourself, you have to take the time to sit down and like process who you are as a person. And I think it's really important to recognize that just because you're you doesn't mean you know you. Sometimes you don't know what your boundaries are until you hit them. And that's okay. And that's why consent is not a hard yes or no. Consent can be revoked or given at any point in time. If I feel something like that, I might die. Don't die. In my case, the more I love, the bigger a crime it is just to feel it, or so it feels with people's reaction to me falling for them or their mistaken perception of it. Kids do be little psychopaths. I hope I don't sound like a sap saying this, but just sitting here reflecting on past relationships, etc. Just thinking to myself how lucky I am that Claudia found me. There's nothing wrong with being a sap, Mike. It's good to feel that way. I think it's really good when you found your life partner and you're happy with them. Whether you're monogamous or if you're polyamorous or, you know, whatever way that you go, I think it's really important to find someone that makes you happy and that you feel safe with. Because not everyone has that. And I've experienced so many unhealthy relationships that I think it is always worth celebrating when you do find someone that is that person. I think being aware of behaviors like that at a young age makes you desperate to only share your feelings with someone you think won't shut you down, and for some people it unfortunately means that if they're successful in their confession, that it's their only shot and things can get ugly from there. But wait, behaviors like what? Because now it's like their only chances to let anything not to mess it up. We love love in this chat. We do love love in this chat. Chat is for lovers. Platonic or romantic. And in case it wasn't obvious, I super duper underline, I think it's so important to have platonic love in your life just as much as romantic, if not more. Kids being nasty and laughing in their face. Okay, for sure. Kids being nasty and laughing in their face. Being aware of behaviors like that because there's people sure feelings. Think won't shut them down. You're successful in confessions. Not. Yeah, I can understand. There's definitely ways that like, because there's certain takeaways you can have depending on how situations played out as well that can definitely reinforce negative behaviors. Really unfortunate. Again, survival mechanisms, coping to be understood by peers in a certain way. Because, I mean, I will always feel like a lot of it loops back into parents and how loved you felt as parents. Whether it's because your parents loved you more if you didn't cry or make a fuss. If you learned that you were loved by being easy, you will never want to cause a problem for your partner. Because being easy is how you were loved as a child. Things like that. Heck yeah, platonic love rocks. It's so good. Me and my best friend is just what I always like default on. It's like, I just love having close platonic best friends. I feel like it's good and healthy, and having the sense of like knowing that you love and care for this person like your blood. Don't pour it. Avalanche dropping that love bomb. Platonic can be the best kind of love. It's just important to have that support and intimacy in your life. Everyone should have it. I have a weird relationship with love because I've been told as a kid I love you by people who hurt me, and now as an adult I have a bad view on love. Can't even say the word love without cringing. Okay. Sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes these are the experiences that shape us, unfortunately. I'm sorry that people did that to you. But I understand, where you're coming from. It makes complete sense that you would feel that way. I hope that you can have better experiences, though. Touching on that. Talk platonic love is making me really want to ask my BFF for a solo hangout session. We haven't had one in a while. Do it. It's good to spend time with the people you care about. Even if you just check in for like a little bit. Good. I honestly still find it hard to love, but I feel like I've made progress as it's evolved from feeling undeserving to shit, I don't have time right now. That is good progress. I think it's always good to move away from self-deprecating I don't deserve love, because you deserve love. everyone deserves love. If that's what you want. And it's important too to acknowledge that not everyone is interested in like romance or love. The romantic kind, that is. Because like I definitely have like I have a friend who's seismologist, I believe is what his title is, and he's aro-ace. So he's aromantic asexual, so he does not experience sexual attraction or romantic attraction to anyone. He just doesn't really care about being in relationships. It's never really been his priority. It's not a big deal to him. He is just on this planet to look at seismic activity and freak out about like volcanoes. That's what makes him happy. Him, his cats, watches anime time to time. Like, that's all life is for him. And I love that for him. And I think that that's also really important to acknowledge as well, especially given that like the climate of our society loves to really push Hallmark holidays like Valentine's Day or romances and stuff like that. The whole idea of like finding the one, having a successful life with like family, a spouse, kids, friends, etc. Like sometimes you don't need all of that to have a happy and fulfilled life. I literally messaged my best friend to ask for a hangout an hour ago because of talks today. Yeah. Let the people in your life know that they're important to you. Hang out with them, spend time with them, get to know them more. What's happening right now? I just caught up with my best friend. Yes. Weekend? On Saturday? On Saturday, yes. Before I went to go see Godzilla. We always make time. I feel bad, so I need to initiate it. I need to set myself a reminder in a couple months. She's always messaging me, asking me to video chat. She's always the one that initiates it, and I feel bad, but I recognize that she does that, and I always make sure to say yes to it every time. Since she always asks, I will never say no. But I want to be the one that asks her in a couple months. Well, because I feel like it's unfair for her to always be the one asking. But yeah. Give and take, reciprocate. Acknowledge these things. Take inventory, take stock. It's important to take yourself out of the rhythm of daily life and think about like where things stand. It's also like, I think having plants is like really good for that. Weekly just making sure I check my plants. When I water my plants, I think about my friends and who I haven't talked to in a while. And it's also really good too, like even if you've talked to your friends, did you talk to them because you were asking them for something? When's the last time you really checked in with them to just kind of see what's going on with their life? Or you don't even have to super chat with them. Sometimes it's nice to just send them a message, be like, hey, I was thinking of you. Hope you're doing well. Not every time you reach out to someone has to be a full-blown conversation. Even just letting them know that like you think of them is... I just asked him to reach out to you here if something does happen to me. Oh, he was cool about it. You don't have to follow earlier. To be honest, I wish I could meet a girl like when I used to do coke. Our whole relationship was buy an 8-ball and fuck until it was gone. Best sex of my life. Not advocating for drug use or random sex partners, but it was fun. Sometimes you just want that sort of thing in your life. It makes sense. I hope that you can find something like that without like the unhealthy things attached to it. But I think it's important, you know. I understand the sensation of like, I miss the fun that I used to have doing old activities that aren't good for me anymore. And I miss that. Because I feel like a lot of that was like me in cosplay. I've never messed with like drugs or alcohol, but I was in a lot of really bad like societal pressure situations, and I was in a really bad place mentally. But I also had a lot of fun with the people that I was with. And sometimes I wish I could go back to those times, but I'm hoping to re-experience them in different, like, similar emotions doing different things. I hate that that's always been pushed on us. The idea of, like, finding your partner and, like, settling down, having a family, and having your friends over for casseroles and game nights and stuff like that. The ideal life is, like, fucking life. I disagree with it so much. Yes? Yeah. Like, my ideal life is, like, living in a fucking, like, commune with some friends and just hanging out. Walking in nature. My cat, wherever she is. People's animals. Watching the sunset. knitting, sewing, all my fucking needle crafts that I love doing, embroidery, dancing, streaming media. I yearn for that life. I don't know. That's my ideal. Just doing leisurely things and experiencing life. Being I beef with a lot of consumers. I feel like such a hippie. Typical love, even in a platonic sense, I miss it so much. It's been 15 years since you've had a true heartfelt hug. Rico, I have a hug for you. Hugs are so important. Yes, Avalanche Ranch. I want a simple life. That's the life right there. I want to live on Avalanche Ranch. It's me. And again, it's hard in this day and age, in this fucking late stage capitalism hellscape that is the United States of America. Living here makes it so hard, but the least I can do is try to cultivate something close to it online. How I feel. Hard as we are meant to be social creatures and should be living face to face. We can't. We have the ability to connect further than ever because of the internet, which is great. You know, we can find the most like-minded people anywhere because of the internet. But it also means that we're far away and I can't give you hugs. That's lame. I'll chill while you do that and make more yarn blower bows. Yeah, we could just be needle crafting. I want to go fishing. Like, going fishing would be fun. I love hugs. StaffCon showed me that the Avalanche Ranch would be a dream. StaffCon, like, proof of concept for Avalanche Ranch was fucking nuts. We'll do something like that again. I feel like it'd be really fun to do, like, a 2-week camping trip with everyone. Like, some cabins. I need Gabe's lake house to be real. That's what I need. I mean, I do hope we can meet up again. I surely will hug you hard. I hope so too, Rico. Thank you for always popping into my streams from time to time and for being friends with me even though we only met, like, when I went to Puerto Rico. It means a lot, like, even if we don't talk, like, I don't talk to Allie as much, but I'm still Facebook friends with her. I just want the best for everyone. I keep you guys on my friends list because I want the best for y'all. I still see you guys in a positive light. I would love to meet you again. I reflect on my time in Puerto Rico fondly. The man may want to take all we have, but they can't take the connections we have with each other. Yeah, there's that too. Like, a lot of our life is dictated by what is necessary to live in the world. But we can at least choose our friendships and the people that we want to spend time with outside of the constraints of, like, work. It's part of why, like, when I realized that I love talking to people about video games at E3 2019, I was like, I need to stream so I can meet people who are more like me who love games. Because that's what makes me happy. We're not hobbies too. And video games are definitely a very valid hobby, in my opinion. It's just important to have more than that. I want to hug everyone again. There was so much love in the house. There was so much love in that house. It's a good house. I really wish that I stayed the night there. Next StaffCon, I will be in the house with you guys. I want to make you guys breakfast. The hugs we all gave and received at StaffCon though? Yeah. We did more Mofongo. It's been so long. Every time, I always think about the first time I had Mofongo. So good. I miss the feeling like I was in a dream, seeing so many of you right there. I need to relive that dream, please. I miss all y'all and y'all's hugs and y'all's company. I love you all. It was so great. Again, shout out to Argentum. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to Riley. The big movers and shakers for getting everything set up for StaffCon. The conception of it was, I believe, Argentum's idea, collaborating with my sister, and Riley was the one who found that party house for us. All great and amazing things. Not if we make you breakfast first. That is true, but I want to make breakfast for you guys also. We can all work together to make breakfast. We'll team up and make you a continental breakfast. No! I am still and will forever be blown away that so many of you were willing to travel all the way out here to hang out with little old me. I know that so many people made such far journeys, and I like fully recognize like it was not a cheap trip. You know, like you guys had to take off work, you had to buy plane tickets, maybe you also had to pay for luggage, then you had to pay for the house, and there was food, and there was transportation. Like I fully recognize and think all the time about how much like money, time it costs you guys to come all the way out here for me. And I feel so special, and it just makes me want to work extra hard to make sure that your guys' time here was worth it. I want to make sure it's worth it, so I'm gonna make you fucking breakfast, okay? Jeez. Don't challenge us? I'm challenging you guys. Riley, it's on my bucket list to watch Love Live with you, just so you know. You're kidding, right? You think we do any less for you? I don't want you guys to feel pressured to do anything, you know, like, again, I am just baseline glad that you're even here. I never ever want to take that for granted. I never want to come off as being entitled to that sort of thing. I will always feel very like humbled and grateful that there are people in my community, that I have enough people that want to hang out with me to where I can have a community is like so crazy. I love you guys, and it means a lot to me that you are here and that I can have these spaces where I can have these conversations about these things. Because having these conversations is also really important to me, whether we're talking about like friend breakups or like relationships or, you know, childhood trauma or like anything like that. It's very important to me because all I want out of this life is just to connect with people and experience life. That's what makes life wonderful. Andre is a cool roommate. I need to take a trip to Vegas again. Glad to hear. I was concerned I could have been too overbearing. Little, you have the biggest heart though. You bring so much love. It brought all of our love together and it culminated in what StaffCon was. I'm just here. I really resonated with I think the name is Donbo, the little like love robot. But I'm just here with a big old heart with lots of love to give. I'm trying to find the right people to give it to. So thanks for being the right people. We're in Best Girl. We can host StaffCon 2 at my house. I feel that though. I feel like StaffCon was a dream that happened way too fast. 10 out of 10 would be your roomie again. You go to StaffCon. StaffCon could be a lot of fun. I miss and love you too, Cecilia. I miss you too, Riley. I'll bring some devil's lettuce. There's some people that partake. I partake occasionally. Staff, please, the amount of love you have for us is one of the things we love the most. Also, how hard everyone just worked while being under the same roof. I really appreciate how everyone really came together to take care of one another too. I will always be blown away by how much the community showed up for each other. Again, that sort of thing just means a lot to me. Like, I love community building, having people care about each other. The greatest gift of StaffCon, in addition to seeing everyone, was seeing everyone become friends and closer with each other. That is my favorite thing, is like being able to bring people together. I think it's such a privilege to see friendships grow and blossom. We're in Best Girl, insert Maraca emote. I miss the food we had. The look on your face when you finally got the cheesesteak at the airport was great. You haven't been to Vegas since pre-Xavier. Do you want to go? It goes both ways. Next StaffCon roomies again, no question. You've never been to Vegas? I'm not the biggest fan of Vegas, personally. But I've only been once, and I don't think it was with the right people. I want to take them whenever we go. It'd be fun if, like, you, Claudia, and Xavier could come out for StaffCon sometime. If we could get something set up. Just pinged you in Discord. I wish I made it out to StaffCon. Hopefully next time. Will there be a next time? It was such a success. There will be a next time. I feel like, Astro. We thought this would be a one-time thing, but if enough people are willing, we have enough people where, like, we'll probably organize more of a committee. We have learned a lot of things. We did a survey after this last one to figure out, like, our weaknesses and stuff like that, to hopefully make the next event a lot more streamlined and smoother. So, lots of great feedback to everyone who gave it. But I love event planning, so I can also be more active in getting it set up. But there is most likely going to be a next one. My friend Sarah wants to come out for it because she was not able to make it out this year. Elise was also invited. She couldn't make it. Fruitcake was invited. Rika was invited. My friend Maddie, aka Venacos, was invited, and they were all people who couldn't go for various reasons. But we still had over 20 people show up, which is crazy. So I feel like we can definitely get something set up again. Michigan is having a renaissance of cannabis growers. You can get organic now? Happy burp. Thanks. Need to go to bed? Okay, no worries. Good night, Ellie. Thank you for hanging out. I gotta make StephCon next year. Yeah. The T-pose entrance was so fucking funny. I'm so glad that everyone found my reaction so funny. Like, I just walked in and just said 3 words, but apparently that's enough for everyone, so I'm glad. Minora and I were smiling so hard. We can do Just Dance's next StephCon Petra song. I'll be the stick. Oh my god, it was. There's too many places I want to visit. StephCon's location is totally my go-to now. I need to visit more. Yeah, we can streamline things for everyone. Set up a recording for it. Hi, Mike. Are you doing any cons in your city? I occasionally have been, like, Fan Expo I did last year, and I also went to PAX Unplugged. This year, I don't believe Fan Expo is happening when one of my friends is getting married. I believe it's like the day before. So I promised my friends I'd babysit their daughter. So I'm not having any plans for going to Fan Expo this year. I might still go to PAX Unplugged later this year. I love board game. I was really pushing through February to try to make it last minute, but you couldn't finance it. Absolutely no worries, Esto. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen again. So if you want to come party at StephCon, meet everyone where everyone's going to have hugs, you are completely welcome. Start saving up now. I will be saving up both manually and through automatic savings at work to make sure I'm more than ready for the next StephCon. Yeah. We literally came up with the T-pose on the spot. We had no time to record that moment. Oh, literally Steph was outside and someone said we should all T-pose. Yeah. The funniest part is that we all expected the worst. Did you guys really expect me to say that? That's so funny. Is the next StephCon gonna be BG3 themed? This StephCon had a lot of BG3. Someone gave me the microphone at karaoke and I was like, everyone should play Baldur's Gate 3. My sister brought her laptop and for a good chunk of time I was just sitting there watching her play too. Always. I don't know where everyone is at, but if you can stop in Michigan, it's worth it just for the smoke. We all knew you'd literally, what the fuck, audibly we were hoping for it. Well, I'm glad I delivered. I just think it's dope that you form such a trustworthy community that you trust them enough to meet them in person and hang out with them too. I know women meeting strangers isn't the thing to do. That is very true. But I do have a lot of faith in my community. Also, like, it's very, like, there's a lot of, like, gates to it as well. So there's, like, I don't know. There's a lot of layers that go into it, but I feel like I'm intentional enough with the community that I curate, and if people pass the vibe check, like, possible. I also am blessed and feel really safe with the people in my community. Like, they, like, you know, well, almost all my mods were there. Everyone except one of my mods were there physically as well. So, like, that, and just, like, I don't know. I just trust everyone. I'm also not, like, that big. I think, like, it's a lot more difficult if I was, like, a huge, you know, like, a huge Twitch streamer. If I was, like, a partner with, like, 200 viewers or something like that. Or even just, like, someone who has, like, the regular 75 minimum for partner or whatever. Like, I feel like I'm a decent sized, intimate enough community where it's still possible. Because it's like, you never know. There could be someone weird at one point. But I felt safe enough to do it. And you can't complain about never meeting people if you don't put yourself out there. The thing. I don't know. I just trust a lot of people. I felt like it was good. I had a good feeling. We really did. Hopefully next time it would be even more amazing. I have no doubt. I'm sure it'll be amazing. I'm sorry I'm typing it on caps. Don't be sorry. It's okay. It's justified when it's StephCon. Exactly. Hi, Paper. Where's Kirk of Thorns cosplay to StephCon to hug me if you dare? 2 weeks StephCon? Who knows? If you were in Chicago, I'd be visiting you on the Amtrak. I am not, unfortunately. I honestly just thought she was going to turn around and leave without saying anything. That would have been funny too. I was also watching Stell play. It's also very curated. Yeah, I have a very curated community. Like, it's not open invite to get into my Discord at all. If people don't hang out enough, like, if we feel like we don't know you as a person, you don't get an invite to the Discord. It's never been open. I also like to go through and weed people. If you lose my trust, you get kicked out of the community. I'm also not afraid of like, I'll bring in people, like there was like someone that I brought in that I knew in the community, and I felt like she really harmed someone in the community, and I feel like, I don't know, there's like a lot of like weird like parasocial shit that can go with it, but like I like to be friends with the people that are like in my community as well, and I just don't jive. Like if you're a shitty person to someone else, whether or not we're friends or not, if you do a shitty person thing, I don't want to be friends with you. Especially if you're coming into my space where it's like, excuse me, my community, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about that sort of thing. So I take behavior very seriously because it's a space that I'm responsible for ultimately at the end of the day, because it is my community and I take that job seriously. And I have a lot of criticisms for other people who run communities because I don't think people take it as seriously as they could. But I do think that drives a lot of it. Discord is closed unless a personal invite is sent. Yeah. Next Steph Con, when Steph walks in, we should all do the Peter Griffin death pose. I'm gonna react the exact same way. Steph gave us an ocular pat down, cleared us. Oh yeah. Steph Con is where we all confirm Steph is exactly 6'18" tall. Steph Con is super tall. I think this is the best sized community. The huge communities, it's kind of hard to feel organized that and get this many people to love each other. Yeah, I mean, like it's tricky. You can't always have that. There's always gonna be kind of like a size limitation thing. And I think also like, because I think a lot of the people when I first started stream were also the type of people who weren't necessarily there for the community, but like just for me. But
Thank you
for the follow. Going to these events, I think it's also really important to understand that like you're gonna have to be there for everyone else just as much as you're like there for me, because there was 20 of us hanging out Saturday night. I didn't get to hang out individually with everyone. I tried my best to hang out with people that I could, but like sometimes it's hard when you're like hanging out in one area doing something and you're stuck there for a while. Sometimes back in time, like people were playing Smash upstairs, there was wrestling going on downstairs, everyone was like doing their own thing and like hanging out. Where was I going with that? Really tall, best community, too many people, blah blah. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Yeah, so going bigger isn't necessarily like a huge issue as long as everyone understands that we are coming together as a community as well. I think that's also something that's super key. The community's close, and also the community loves each other, not just me. I also think that it's weird to have a community where everyone singularly worships the streamer, because I don't want your worship, I want your friendship. Worship makes me uncomfortable because it feels like I'm being objectified, and I only ever want to be perceived as the way that I am a deeply flawed human being, which feeds into my whole mission statement of like, let's care for each other and support each other because we're all human, and it's important to recognize that. I also think that it feeds into unhealthy ideals to pretend that I'm like some super human being. I think it's really important to be human and romanticize that healthily. Avalanche's best community, period. Should we all grab our knees, start yelling? No, but actually, yes, let's. You're home now? Welcome, homies! I was listening to the stream for the most part, and I'm running errands, and I have to admit, I broke down a bit as I was thinking about a few ex-friends. I'm so sorry, Esto. I can't express it enough that I really appreciate you guys, even though I don't speak much or be active enough in the community. Thank you again for doing this stream. Anytime, Esto. Thank you for opening up. It is really hard. Like I've said before, it is very, very hard thinking about a lot of the past good times that you've had with people and reconciling the fact that they're no longer in your life and you won't have those moments again. Like, it's absolutely devastating. But it is also an experience that you are absolutely not alone in, and it's the sort of thing where, like, those times may be over, but it doesn't mean that you will never have good times again. It's like, in all relationships, it's important to open yourself up to new people who will come into your life as well, where you will have new, wonderful, great experiences, hopefully for, like, StephCon and stuff like that. It's really easy to be hurt and close yourself off, but I'm too much of an optimistic lover that I just think that it's important to always keep trying. I'm sorry that there are people that you miss, I presume, that are not in your life anymore, Esto, but I hope that the love that the community has helps assuage that sadness for you a little bit. You know, we'll always be here as long as you're happy to be here. No doubt I'm hugging GD ASAP at StaffCon. We still loves you, friend. Towards Esto, always. There were some people I wish I could have spent more time with. Yeah, same! Absolutely. But you can't fit a whole lot in just a couple days. Yeah, I'm sure next StaffCon we'll probably work on being longer. Speaking of wrestling though, WrestleMania? Could we gently glomp staff? Of course. Gently. Bruh, for real, I cried a bit when hugging GD and Duo, although there's historical and sentimental reasons behind it. Person. Yeah, it was very I will never get the memory of like, it's seared into my brain and I'm so glad I witnessed it, but seeing Duo and Randall hug and meet each other for the first time was fucking magical. After seeing them come in and do their Kuro Duomenon for years and to finally see them meet in person was a magical experience. Can't wait to go to Philly this weekend and see Venora and Steph! Yeah! Very excited. I'm hugging you respectfully at StaffCon. Worshipping a content creator or a public figure in general is hella dangerous. Yes, it is. I think a lot of the social media climate these days encourages that sort of thing, which I think is unhealthy. And I actively fight against that. My flaws be so deep, I can't see the bottom, but I make good snacks. Hey. Fuck yeah, good snacks. Like, you want to be viewed as a person, it's not crazy to want that. Yes, but I do think that there's like a degree of commodification and, I mean, this goes into like my own things. When I have issues, I personally, me Steph, beef with, I want to be viewed as a person. Riley, thank you for giving us to paper, I appreciate it. Because I feel like, as an Asian woman existing on the internet and someone who cosplays, there's so many degrees of like commodification and objectification that are lumped upon me that I have no control over, which like, fine, whatever. But I can control that perception within people who are in my sphere of influence, people who come into my community. So people who treat me like that, I can usually sniff out and kick the curb. Some people don't want to see me like that. No, but I mean, who's gonna be streaming it in the Discord? We might need our resident big dog to do that. I will say that meeting GD for the first time after accepting his little brother for the longest was the best feeling. I'm so glad. I'm gonna summon the big dig. Big dog? I feel like it's weird when a person comes in a stream and only focuses on the stream and ignores the community. Yeah, I don't like that too. When someone comes in and pelts me with a million questions, I'm like, don't you want to know the cool people that hang out with me? I will never forget the moment I saw / met GD at the airport. That was so magical. I'm so glad that GD got part of that on video too. I still feel like I'm recovering, but it's okay. I'm still here and I'm still doing my best to move forward. And that's all anyone could ever ask of you, honestly. And it's okay. Some days you might feel like you might not move forward so much. Some days you might feel like you move backward. And I think it's important to know that that's okay too. Healing and grieving is a really long process. It's taken me like all this time. It hasn't been until like, excuse me, fucking Baldur's Gate 3, to be honest. And going through all the shit that happened in the game for me to feel like I did before my trauma. I feel like right up until that point, I was going insane and I felt like I had lost a part of myself. But there was something in Baldur's Gate that made me feel more able to accept the things that had happened to me, and I feel more okay than I ever have. But it's taken me like nearly 5 years to get to this point. And if it's taken even longer than that, that's completely okay. The thing about healing is that like you're never quite done, which is kind of a bummer, but like it's part of you and that's okay. When I walked through the door, I felt every other feeling dim in a thick fog and only love remained. This is the good side of Twitch, meeting great streamers and communities and great people. Oh yeah. Yes, the Kuro Duomenon was finally completed, so glad we could be there to see it. Yeah, 4 years in the making! It was so good. Gonna be in Philly this Wednesday. Man, and the weather's gonna be so garbage on Wednesday. It's gonna be heavy rain from like midnight to 8 p.m. and 15-mile-per-hour winds. It's gonna be so bad in here. Duo and I have been literally waiting for that day. It was magical to witness. I don't blame people who worship celebrities, content creators, influencers, etc. Because I feel like it's a human thing to want a hero to look up to. Yeah, I can understand that. I think it's important. I don't know, it depends. Everyone has different things. For me personally, it's important to me that if people look up to me, they look up to me while fully cognizant that being human and being recognized for my very human traits is something that is very integral to my image, me as a person. Because the last thing I want are mistakes that I've made to be glorified. You know, I don't want people to aspire to be me, to make the same mistakes I have. I want people to take the right things away from things that I've done, and also see reflections of hopefully grace that I give myself that they can also give themselves when things happen. Wasn't Duo supposed to buy the boba and then you snuck in the payment when he wasn't paying attention for such a long time? How dare he snooze and he lose? Got her boba. Oh my god. Like, there are people put there that to them all you will ever be is a personification of their fetish. Yeah, and again, you know, sometimes people are really dedicated to misunderstanding you, and I think it's really important to understand that people will be committed to that no matter what, and all you can really do is remove yourself from their space and just disengage. I just started watching Sandland, the last Toriyama property he made before passing. It's giving me warm and fuzzies. I can already recommend it. Oh, more cheesesteak. We'll have Duomenon shirts next StaffCon, please. Should have StaffCon shirts. I wanted to make lanyards, but they wouldn't come in time. To be fair, I really want that cheesecake. Oh, on Kami, I need to go back to the market and get another Royale cheesecake. I mean, I can always host it for Steps Discord if people showed interest. It's the depth long, not too a very long anime total. Hell yeah, I wear a medium. Got a terrible delay. No worries. I'm also really behind on chat. But if it's gonna be that bad stuff, then I have to reschedule for the trip to next Wednesday then, when the weather is better. When I looked at the weather, it looked like it's really bad. It's been raining all day. I got a weather warning for the winds tomorrow, and then I looked on Wednesday, and it looks like it's even worse on Wednesday. I'm not sure what you're coming to Philly for, but if you can reschedule your trip, you should. I'm not available for the next 2 Wednesdays, however. I'm going to go see a movie. 10+ seconds. Have you tried refreshing? Hello, Tariq. Let me also do that. I gotta try the water ice y'all be talking about. Yeah, don't try water ice this Wednesday. The weather would be miserable for it. It's just Rita's, but it's okay. You still have yet to eat a hot cheesesteak? Come back. We'll have to get, we have to physically go to Dallas Ultras. It'd be crazy, but it'd be better if we did that. Gonna snow soon. Eclipse be next week. The eclipse is this Friday. If anyone's within totality. My manager got us glasses for it. I don't know how rad it's going to be. It's like towards the end of my workday. He said that we're gonna get 90%. We are not that close. I think we're technically supposed to be within 80%. My sister's going to Texas for it to be underneath 100% totality. Yes, water ice. Also, your boy is frugal, so I don't pay for ad-free stuff. Sandland is exclusive to Disney Plus Hulu. The faces will either be our usual emotes or actual faces doing the emotes. Actual faces doing the emotes would be so funny, though. That'd be great. Part of me is thinking it was something as demonic as adding peanut butter to a cheesesteak. And where can I make that happen? What? You know what everyone needs to try? They need to try the concoction that Vic had put together. The mac and cheese with like part of Connor's Philly cheesesteak in it. So I got some of that too. That was really good. Cheesesteak mac and cheese? Slaps. Extra chunky peanut butter? Where are people getting Friday from? Everything I see says the 8th? Really? Solar eclipse. Yeah, it is the 8th. I don't know. My manager was like, let's block off time on Friday for the eclipse. And I was like, sure, okay, whatever. It is the 8th. I'm gonna tell them that tomorrow. Getting Monday off from clinicals due to the eclipse? Are you in the path of totality? Legit, when I got to the house, Joe can stand as witness. I skipped the microwave and straight up destroyed the cheesecake. And the burger. Hell yeah. Y'all think the eclipse freaked out ancient humans like before BC, BCE, and AD? Oh, 100%. Absolutely. scary as fuck. The sky goes dark. Birds get quiet. It's weird. My goal for the Philly trip is just to explore around and get familiar with the area. That's all really. Screw it. I'll just reschedule to go on the 10th. We'll have more money to use. Sure. If you're planning on going around, reschedule your trip is my suggestion. I will not be around then, unfortunately, to hang out, because I will be busy. But at least for the very sake of your personal enjoyment, don't go this week, because the weather is bad. Me and Vic connected on a level deeper than spiritual that trip. The homie for life. I love that you guys are on the same flight. That was so great. 8th in Arkansas, so shizzle. Nice. Every time I'm with Steph, a mac and cheese culinary phenomenon occurs. Yeah, we got homeroom that one time, right? Hello, Jarrell. Hello, Salvis. Good to see ya. That was my entire week post StephCon. Oh, just exploring around. I love... Everyone should have done what Riley did, because Riley took an extra week to hang out post StephCon. So then we went to New York together. We went and got food together. It was great. We hung out a couple of times. They hung out while I was streaming once. And then we went to Lucky's. People are claiming this eclipse will end the world. Another human termination for New York loss. Oh, for my list? Another human termination? Yeah. I graduated the year of the 2012 end of the calendar, so. Philly Otaku Fest, my first day on. Yep, and people are super stoked. I will be going to sleep during my rare time. I don't have to do surgery. I need to try that cheesesteak for the market. That thing looked good and thick. Do it. All good. We'll have to hang out the next time when you're not busy. Yeah, just let me know. April's just kind of busy for me, and so is May. I think June and July are probably a little bit better. I had a case that was supposed to be like 2 hours and ended up going awry and lasting 5+ hours. God damn. I'm sorry, dude. It was such a great week. I'm glad you were able to enjoy so much of it. And this is like when it's like ugly here. It's winter. Things aren't green, but things are starting to bloom. I'm excited because end of April is like when everything starts getting really beautiful. That was when I first moved here. It was so fucking enchanting. A lot of it was us fixing what the previous doctor did to that person. Oh no, damage control. I know I had a bit of privilege being able to do all that though and take a longer vacation than just a weekend. I'm glad that you did that because you hadn't had a vacation since Anime Expo 2019. If it wasn't for my Japan trip in September, I would have taken another week for sure if y'all were down. Wish. When are you going in September? This is exciting, dude. Okay, we'll plan a longer StephCon next week. I still remember the Y2K World's End. I lived it, but I don't remember it. Fat Fingers, my first year on Philly was basically cardio. I got to see 3 commercial plazas, residential areas, got to see 2 USPS people and visited a ShopRite, and you fell in love with Raisin Cane's. Y2K 2021, oh, 2012, the Rapture, the revised Rapture, COVID, now this eclipse. Yeah. Hi, Sal, welcome in. How you doing? We love to go to a dollar store or something like that, buy new shoes or something. Hi, Dragoon Knight, thank you for lurking. That's so funny. Did you go to a Wawa while you were here? We had a lot of like really funny stores and stuff. On the bright side, we did agree to remove his appendix, which we noticed was swelling, so we kind of got a 2-for-1 surgery for free. Oh, lucky him. I'll make plans for June and July. Just let me know when you're free in those months so I can take days off work and actually be more there on the weekend instead of the weekday. Sure. Double check. July is actually a little crazy for me because I know that I already have 2 weekends planned because my friend Jane has a bridal shower that's going on. June for sure. The Rapture, I remember that day. My friend and I went to a buffet and someone kept on calling it the Raptor. Oh my god. Got home from work not too long ago. Welcome home. Tonight's been good. We originally started talking about like friend breakups and stuff like that, but since it's just a general mental health chatting stream, we're talking about a little bit of everything. You did not go to Wawa's? Wawa's an experience. Wawa isn't anything like super special. They're pretty cool. Kind of while we're in the neighborhood kind of thing. I love that. While we're in the neighborhood of your appendix, we're just gonna take it out. To refresh your memory, yes. Y2K was about computers not being able to register going from 99 to 00 on the system calendars, thus supposedly crashing everything. Honestly, raptors descending from the heavens to purge mankind would have been more interesting than absolutely nothing happening. Oh my god, I was in front of one and didn't go. Same for 7-Eleven and GameStop. So many places didn't capitalize. Do you guys not have GameStop? on your island? GameStop is really nothing special. Some of them are really sad too. Funny. You watched that movie? Nice? Yeah. How's life? How you been? Anything fun? Or not fun that you want to share? It doesn't always have to be fun. As long as I put in at least a month notice, you'll get the days off for sure. That's good. Hello, Kratos Damasa. Welcome in. Wawa though, love Wawa. Wawa's pretty cool. GameStop is not what it used to be. GameStop's really gone downhill. I was recently watching a group of creators doing an advice show. One of them was talking about how to build friendships and feeling more part of a group. And being able to do fun things with them / being invited out, since I've struggled with that since college. GameStop fell off so hard. Definitely did. It's shocking GameStop's still alive. It makes me sad seeing what he's doing now. When I'll have a GameStop or Wawa or half the things you do. Oh, GameStop, also known as Please Buy Out T-shirts we ordered for a game released from 6 years ago. The group of creators doing an advice show I think is really interesting. Building friendships is something that I think is difficult for everyone everywhere. Even though we're like more interconnected than ever, it can definitely be tricky. I think a lot of it is just kind of like the general people always struggle to open up and be vulnerable with other people in order to allow authentic friendships to build, because true friendships are built off of emotional vulnerability, learning about each other and supporting each other, and I don't think a lot of people want to put in a lot of that work these days. I don't know, it could have also, it's hard to say whether it's a these days issue in my opinion, or just a general recurring human. A lot of my friends used to work at a GameStop in a local mall. After some of the changes they implemented, they all started to hate it. Brittany was a GameStop manager for like 10 years or some crazy shit like that. It's gotten crazy. I want to see the movie on GameStonks. I think it's called Dumb Money. I didn't even realize they made a movie on it. On the flip side, you got to try Baja Blast Mountain Dew. You didn't know it existed? Baja Blast? It's trickier with folks online too, since you can't physically be there and talk normally. I feel like it kind of depends, because for me, as someone who was like very socially awkward growing up, I always felt like it was a lot easier for me to form my friendships like online, but a lot of it is dependent on like re-entering the same spaces as people and getting to like know them, because it builds a sense of community. So, but that's why I like having my community, because then I'm like inviting people into the clubhouse. Because outside of my clubhouse, it's really hard for me to go out and get into other people's spaces and talk to them. But that's the only way you'll like meet people, is like if you're being assertive. It's 10 o'clock, my light's turned off. I think I only ever buy hard copies of Nintendo games now. It's an interesting topic. I feel like I got better at it, but I want to get better at it. Yeah, making friends, keeping friends is all like skill, time, effort. I worked at one in high school. Even the 17 years ago-ish that was, a quota on premium memberships made it already unappealing as a retailer, especially because it was the absolute lowest minimum wage. Yeah. What, Andre? This is crazy to me. Baja Blast the Fest. It's like the GameStop employees have to push that stupid-ass Power Rewards card. Oh, yeah. I love Baja Blast. Oh, man, Baja Blast 3. I haven't had a Baja Blast in such a long time. Guess it's time to go to Taco Smell. Baja Blast Mountain Dew just tastes like 7-Up mixed with Mountain Dew. Never had Baja Blast. I wish I was friends with a GameStop manager when the next Nintendo console is out for pre-order next year. I want. We only have one Taco Bell Cantina. It doesn't have it. Crazy. Stuff is all news to me. We gotta do more things when Andre's here. I have an online friend from Canada who I met through streaming, and they always reassure our friendship because they like to mention how much I helped them during COVID. So nice. They're a very introverted person and keep close to themselves, but being able to talk to them regularly for nearly 4 years now has been so fun, and it's even more interesting since they've told me they haven't had an online friend before. Really? That's interesting. That's really cool. It's always fun to feel special to someone like that. Really cool. Always nice to know that you've helped someone as well. Yeah, I love doing that. I definitely had way more online friends just growing up because I felt really socially awkward in person, and also my mom was super paranoid, so it was like harder for me to like go out and be friends with people. I didn't know how to befriend people at school. That was the only way that I could really make friends, but I If anyone is ever super down, depressed, anxious, or anything at all, really, send me a message. I'll get back to you before you do anything crazy. Reach out. Thank you for that, Dr. Blahoska. It's very sweet of you to offer. You can make the Baja Blast yourself at home, though. The cantina from Taco Bell's actually pretty good. GD2, I'm sure he needs a break out from the island life of Guam. Yeah, I'm sure Philly was really cool for him. Taco Bell at StaffCon, I'm down. Taco Bell at StaffCon? That's so lovely. You were picked for their first? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're also a tad older to me, 30s compared to me, since I'm 27, so I'm the most savvy person when it comes to socials, but great person. I think it kind of depends. I'm 30. It depends on the person. Some people grow up with technology. Any of y'all remember Demolition Man? That. We need to take our island community members to the American fast food experience. Oh my god, how did I not know you were in Rincord? You vote KBBQ for StaffCon? In a couple weeks, I should be able to figure out at least one place for KBBQ for us. Moderator there, you miss Philly? Philly is great. Taco Bell won the franchise wars. Now all restaurants are Taco Bell. You invited me. That's so funny. I did. I have bad memory. You'll be back here next month? What you coming to Philly for? It's great here. In my opinion. You just need to come to NYC and I got him taking to many different places. I know. It'd be fun to do StaffCon at New York. I may not spin with attention or anything, but you're definitely friend material for me, Steph. You are friend-shaped. Thank you. Does this mean we'll have to tell him about Super Size Me too? Oh my god, I forgot about Super Size Me. A long time ago, all good. Never had KBBQ. I love KBBQ. So good. You miss Philly too? Good thing you're gonna be here next weekend, Joe. You'll find KBBQ in Philly for sure. You miss Philly too? Come back. Demolition Man is a fun popcorn movie. I'm old, I forget things. You're coming for a tournament in downtown Philly? Oh, nice. Wait, what game? Came down last year for it. The organizers invited me back out. That's it. They do so much fun stuff out here. It's really cool. Well, what with GD and myself coming from quite a distance, I'm sure he'd agree. We love and appreciate how you lads take your time to show us little things we're probably missing out on. The best thing, in my opinion, is sharing experiences with friends. It'd be so much fun to do. KBBQ is great, not super size. I'll be coming back, maybe permanently. I would love that. I think everyone should move here. Then we can all hang out. It's a multi-game event, but mostly coming for Smash Melee at local host. Oh, nice. Also running Ultimate, Tekken 8, and Rivals 2. Wanted to see Street Fighter 6 there, but they told me there's already a Street Fighter tourney in the city. I don't do like fighting games and stuff like that, so I have no idea. That's awesome. I wonder if Argentum knows about it. Local. Avalanche KBBQ will take over the entire establishment. We like legit might. If like more people come next year, it's like possible. We were already 20 this year, which is like a pretty large size party. Depending on the size of the joint, we could like get like a room or two or like section off part of the restaurant. So I venture out even if I'm alone so I can share what I find when the time permits. It's awesome. I want to. I'd shine floors with my fingers to move to Philly. I mean, hopefully you wouldn't have to do something like that, but we need to get 40 next year? 40 what? 40 people? We're gonna double the amount of people? I love how this moved from discussing such serious things and has become just us sharing our love. I miss Mental Health Monday. It makes sense that it kind of like moved in this direction. I feel like we moved from like friends drifting apart to like friendships that we have and maintain. So our community, you know? Yes, 40 peeps. But real talk, how are we going about the jousting to be knighted next year? That's all Connor's. Connor said he was putting together like a whole brigade, right? Wasn't there something like that? I feel like he was like rounding up some squires. Baguette jousting? The Baguette Brigade? The Baker's does it. That's what it was. The Baker's does it. I don't know how many people are like wanting to be a part of that, but I don't know if there's gonna be like a tourney for like the 12 of y'all. You're down to joust. There's gonna be so many shenanigans. What we should do is that everyone should bake their own baguette and then we should joust with the baguettes that you guys create. The true test. So funny. Shall we recreate a Sons of the Forest event with StaffCon without the mutants and monsters? What is the Sons of the Forest event without that then? Down to joust. It's gonna be a 6 squadron, not gonna lie. Absolutely. Baguette Brigade has a ring to it. Who will be Squire to Sir Bread? You'll represent the Rye faction. Has to be done by a resident knight of the Baker's Dozen, knighting others with his Geese Lance of Lord Drury. Actually, Baker's Dozen is 13. It is. Connor heads it as the official knight that was knighted this year with the baguette, and he has 12 other squires. Altogether, they are the Baker's Dozen. Who will be the Knights of the Round, PETA? These bread jokes. I know how to make bread extra firm. I remember my bread baking class. You're not wrong, but I'm not getting eaten. Are you talking about recreating cannibalism at StaffCon? What are you talking about? People represent the Sourdough Crusade. Everyone's representing a different house, and it's just different types of bread. Everyone has to draw their coat of arms on the baguette with like a razor. You know how some people like cut designs onto them? I need a coat of arms for everyone. It's really funny to me how well this works. In the anime Yakitate Japan, I represent Pan Sobal colony. Now I wish I had baking skills. We'll have banners with different breads for our factions. Yeah! Oh my god, yes. Bread. It's like Food Wars, but just with bread. Yakitate? Really? Hers? Not? I've not seen that one either. Got my bangs. My bangs are getting so low. Gotta watch Food Wars? I cosplay from Food Wars. I cosplayed like a couple characters. I enjoyed it. If you can get past the fact that like they do so much unnecessary fan service, the food looks really fucking good. That was an anime that I had to constantly be eating while I watched it because it made me so hungry. Add this to my list. I shall craft an elven flute from a baguette and raise a song of bread and victory. Food Wars is amazing. I want to watch it with you, Connor. The Yakitate Japan manga has actual recipes on the back of each manga. Wow. For like different types of bread? Alternatively, watch Fighting Foodons. True. And we'll have a minigame where we toss donuts at Coke bottles like ring toss. This sounds like Ren Fair, but yeast themed. You love Yakitate Japan? Yakitate Japan is a pun in and of itself because it translates to freshly baked Japan bread. Yes, bread recipes, bread fair. It's bread fair. Make it happen. I can have a cookie machine gun. Is that okay? If you could make one. Yes, bread recipes. Baking bread really is like a lot of fun, and it makes a house smell amazing. Mike loves Yakitate Japan. Oh boy. I love these like insane shenanigans that everyone's coming up with. Banana bread sounds so good right now. Literally earlier at work we were talking about banana bread because my coworker Angie was going to make banana bread and then did not. Man, I need banana bread. I love that you know about Yakitate Japan. It's older, isn't it? I remember hearing about it. I feel like I probably saw copies of the manga at like Barnes & Noble. Good chocolate chip banana bread this weekend. So good. I almost have all these. I just need bananas. I forget the food review guy's name, but he's funny even if you've watched initially. I just need bananas. But I could also use apples, applesauce, apricots, bananas, carrots, cherries, dates, eggplant, figs, grapes, honey, lemons, marmalade, mints, oranges, peaches, pears, pineapple, plums, pumpkin. love Initial D. I'm rewatching it. I watched it years back with my little bro. Banana Bread is so good when the banana's all black and mushy and had flies all around it. When it's just like super duper sweet. One of my favorites. I need loaf. I borrowed our jet tins, but I need like dedicate. I just need more like baking there. Hi, Bennigan's. Okay. As much as I love partying and hanging out, it is past 10, which is when I should cut things off. I gotta like make my food for tomorrow and everything. Can't stay up too late. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and for chatting for this wonderful Mental Health Monday. Oh, sorry. But I appreciate you guys being here for any amount of time that you were here. Thank you so much. Whether you talked and contributed talking about your own experiences or not, whether you just lurked and reflected on your own experiences, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this conversation. Yeah! If you guys ever want another Mental Health Monday, just let me know. I think it was also good to do this as just like a general break from Rebirth. It was good to touch base with everyone and really have a good hangout stream because we haven't done these in a while, because I know a lot of people are also avoiding Rebirth spoilers. Stuff's amazing. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for discussing these things with me. Let me just say, Steph, one of the best things in the past 53 months or maybe even longer was clicking on your Instagram story and loading it into the stream. Thank you for bringing it back anytime. We can try to do these like once a month just to kind of check in with everyone and make sure, you know, we're all good. It's good to check on the homies and talk about whatever's on our mind. So, thank you. Thank you, Esto. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Avoiding Rebirth scores like plague, completely understandable. I think tomorrow I'll be heading back into it. So thank you for being here today and for dropping by. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. All right. Head off now. Take care, stay safe, and know that you are loved. I'll see you guys around or on stream for